So I've been doing something recently. Oh, your headphones not working, Joe? Is it at that connection? Oh, you know what? It's here. It's there. Sorry.
There we go.
Yeah. Technical difficulties. If that's too loud or too low, Chucky O.
No, it's wonderful.
Speaking of which,
I can't tell if that's sarcastic or not. You have the way of speaking. I love it.
Speaking of which, Chucky O is here today, and Joe is here today, or Joey, and
That's me.
and Chris is on assignment. Anyway, I've been feeling like my life is a bit out of control recently, and pretty much all aspects. I haven't felt like I have a grip on it all, like that. Everything is sort of spiraling, and it's like the more I tighten my fist, the more star systems slip through my fingers. So anyway, one of the things that we've been doing recently, we've only done once so far, so we're going to continue it tonight. My wife and I have been taking one room of the house and doing like a deep cleaning and reorganization of said room. So we did the dining room. We did it yesterday. And I'm talking about like we cleaned and dusted and vacuumed the vents and, everything. Wiped down the baseboards, wiped up the flooring, vacuumed everything, dusted everything, the light fixtures, dusted them, just complete top to bottom cleaning. And then we made a list of everything that still needs to be done in that room, and then things that need to be bought for that room. So for instance, like I have this ghetto ass fucking hodgepodge of chairs from my table upstairs. I'm sure that you've noticed. So there's 4 gray chairs that went to a glass table that my dad gave me when he left. We got rid of the table, and the table's dope. It's like you can't see it because it's fucking expensive as fuck. But that was one thing on our list: buy a glass top for that table so that we can see the table. But it's a Restoration Hardware table. It's no joke. But
where's that flex button?
Yeah. And then we have 4 chairs that go to that, but they're fucking expensive. So then we have 4 chairs, and then we intermingle them with the other 4 gray chairs in order because we couldn't afford the fucking, when we got it. And then we just kind of like put it off. And so anyway, made a list of all that type of shit. But then also like, there's been some paint splatters from the purple paint that we painted the walls onto the baseboard. So we're going to touch up that with the white paint. We're doing that this evening. And then like we put a new thermostat in. So like we had to paint around that the first time, but it doesn't really match up with the second one. So there's like, just little shit that just gets away from you. We wipe down the windows inside, outside, like, thorough cleaning, but it's been good.
Therapeutic
a bit, I think. Other things like we have a bunch of pictures in there that are framed, and I'm like, some of these can probably get swapped out at this point, and better conceived. There's actually like that painting is like I'm not really like a classic art fan necessarily. I'm not anti, but like there's a painting in there of like this bowl of fruit. Have you ever noticed it?
Yes.
But like, which is not really my style. However, it's Laura's great grandmother's. That's like one of the few things that she like smuggled out of Germany when they left. So it's like it's like an heirloom of sorts. Stuff like that. And then there was another thing. Like, so we the office, or not the office, the library, as we call it, which is supposed to be like a formal sitting room. Is that way it's set up. That's next. So we've been looking for like decor and stuff, and same thing for the main room because we're going to redo some of this shit. It's just, like we've outgrown it, or we're different people than we were than when we initially started, or you know what I mean, whatever the case may be. And anyway, I found a person, and I'll plug them, so to speak, after I get the product. I don't want to, but like they do like 3D printing of cities, like accurate.
Yeah.
And they have, of course, Paris and London and New York and LA and, the big ones. But they also do customs.
Okay.
So I'm going to get, it's going to be expensive, but I'm going to get like Columbia, where I grew up.
Wow.
And I'm going to get Frederick, where we are now. And I'm going to have those in the main room. And then I found these like fucking maps that are like they're like vintage looking, but of those same areas. I'm gonna put in in the library. And so anyway, I'm excited.
That's classy.
It is. I'm excited. I got like a fresh take. You know what I mean? A fresh take on it. I feel like I'm getting a little bit of semblance of control. I mean, even if you look in this main room, my basement, I usually keep this shit pretty well.
Yeah.
But it's shit all over the place now.
Yeah.
I mean, you live in it.
Yeah, but it's like I can do better. But everything is out of
You
control.
just reel it back in a little
Yeah,
bit.
I'm far behind on reviews. I'm far behind on editing stuff. Like and I think I had.
You have too much on your plate.
Yeah, I had 2 weeks of house guests, and I've just had other things that have like. And then when my kids went on vacation, I went on vacation, like a staycation, if you will, Joseph.
My favorite kind.
So like anyway, in the midst of all that shit, life got away from like the control and organization of life got away from me, and I'm reeling it back in. You know, I mean, to be fair, it's in all facets: eating, drinking. It's in all facets of my life, even like work shit and everything. It's just like I don't have it under control at the moment. So recognized, reeling it back in, making a conscious effort. New mid-year, new me.
There you go.
You know, I am excited for today because we're going to talk about Turtles a good bit because Chucky O and I both saw the Turtles movie, and I think it can evolve into a larger discussion about those characters. So with that, let's go ahead and get started. Chucky O, how's your nerd year been so far?
Yeah, pretty good.
Your quarter at least.
Yeah, I actually cleaned my garage completely. Went through there, pulled
Did you?
everything out,
Wow.
washed the floor, scrubbed it, and did an epoxy paint job
I saw.
on my floor so I can kind of, feel the control and cleaning. And it just went from what I thought was going to be a 3-day job and like $300 into a 3-week job and $550.
Ugh.
So it kind of blew up. And then, speaking of out of control, I bought a motorcycle to go into said clean garage.
I need to talk about that for a minute. So I saw the picture of that too on Facebook, and you didn't drive it out here, did you?
No.
And
I thought about it. I seriously thought
Yeah,
about it.
yeah.
And then I was like, no, it's 24 miles each way, and it's a lot of back roads for me. I am not there. I know where my skill set is at, and I'm at like 7 miles out and back is where I'm good at.
So I laughed because I saw pictures of you and your new purchase on Facebook.
Yeah.
And I laughed because you have this reputation
Oh, yes.
of you get into something, you acquire the accoutrement. Sometimes you perfect it. I think sometimes you get bored with it, and then you get into the next thing and acquire all the accoutrements.
Very familiar. Sounds very familiar.
So, I mean, I've been working on that for quite some time. Like I went to the, motorcycle safety course, did all the learning, watched all the YouTube, consumed everything, and then met my wife, and she was like, no. 2 years later, she's like, well, don't kill yourself.
Fair request.
Yeah, I'm in that right now of like learning and being fairly conservative with it.
What kind of bike did you get? Because it wasn't what I would have expected when I saw it.
Yeah, it's a DRZ 400, which is a dual sport bike. So it's kind of like you can ride it on the road, and you can also do some limited off road. It is not a motorcycle that will travel on the highways.
Yeah, it looks like almost like a dirt bike.
Yeah, it is. Yep. It has the capabilities of a dirt bike.
Okay.
I'm only going to be getting, 55 miles on the highway, so I don't go on highways. I stay in the 45 zones. But I just want
Fun bike. Yeah.
Yeah, and
You're less likely to kill yourself.
so it was funny story about that. It was the shift before, so I had my birthday. I worked.
Happy birthday.
Thank you. And the next day, I was going to pick up my motorcycle, and witnessed a horrific motorcycle accident on a highway.
Oh, really?
Fatal. Completely like,
Did they give you a sign at all? Did you take that at the no? Just said fuck it. Keep...
like it definitely was like, whoa. I was like, oh man, should I not do this? But then, in my experience, the factors that tend to be commonplace. Then don't get me wrong, you can drive a car and get into an accident.
You can get killed walking your doggy.
Yeah. But as in my experience in seeing motorcycle accidents, it's usually speed and alcohol are somewhat linked in there. This guy was doing about 125 on 95 when he, on his sport bike and lost it. So it's like, okay, my bike with my size, I'm pushing 45. So, okay, not the same thing. And so, there's definitely kind of thoughts about your mortality and is this a good idea? What are the consequences and all that? But again, I used to climb ice, do ice climbing and go on the side of mountains and do all kinds.
I feel like that's more dangerous than dirt bike.
Yeah,
you're just such a peculiar person.
Yeah. So it's
you know how many people I've ever sat with and been like, I used to do ice climbing.
Yeah,
just one.
Yeah. I mean, so like part of the thing with me is I don't mean to sound like misogynistic here. Like I think
you want to be places where girls can't get to, right? Just kidding. Just kidding.
No, like man merit badges. There's certain things, and that's not a real thing,
right?
But like I look out there and see like there are certain skills, and after going through near death thing in the last year, like I look at stuff and go, not necessarily bucket list, but go like, that's a skill set that someone has to kind of lean into to kind of perfect, and that journey enriches them some way. I think people learning to fly a airplane, to me, that's a complicated skill set.
It's very easy.
Yeah, it's okay.
I can fly them.
All right, so I haven't quite
so crazy
gone down that rabbit hole yet, but
I know like 4 people with airplanes.
Yeah,
maybe more.
Yeah.
I feel like the airplane is like the 2005 boat.
Yes. Yeah.
You know, I feel like in 2005, I knew like 3 or 4 people with a boat.
You got to do a little bit more.
Planes aren't, I haven't looked into them in a long time because I flew back in early 2000s, but like they're not that expensive. It's the hangar space and the fuel that's expensive.
Yeah.
Getting like a Cessna, like in a single prop plane, it's like back then was like $10,000-$20,000. No more expensive than a car.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's just licensing and
it's just so insane.
It's like horses. I think.
Facebook Marketplace, you can
just
see like a $40,000 airplane, and you get like cheaper experimental ones. But
if you have a barn out, on the farm, and
it's game on. But yeah, just those concepts of like this is a skill. This is something that needs a little bit more than I can just pick it up and go.
Right.
Those kinds of things, interest me.
Yeah.
And so this is definitely one of those. I don't really think of this as, I'm adopting this lifestyle because like I'm actually a little like, I'm not. It's a dirt bike. It is not a Harley,
right?
Because there's, I think,
I could have seen you get like one of those like Harleys with like the shield in the front, like
no way. So here's the thing about that, like
big old like compartment in the back to put your saddlebags on.
Well, but I want to do the adventure riding with that dirt bike. I want to do like off-roading stuff into Pennsylvania, but there's certain aspects of the motorcycling culture where take Harley or even the sport bikes where it's a you want to identify with an identity. Like you want to be a part of this group,
right? Wear the vest,
signaling,
and have some skulls,
or
tassels on your boots, and
all these things,
and your badges.
And for some people, that's the expression
of
that. For me, it's not necessarily. It's more the utilitarian thing, and maybe that's the expression for me.
Yeah.
But the motorcycle's new and fun. So.
Yeah. I can say like if you you're not here a whole ton, but knowing you like I do, it's very bizarre to imagine you wanting to adopt that culture.
Yeah,
I would get a real kick out of it personally.
It's funny.
So like
I used to. I think I can dig it up in my closet. When I was in high school, my dad would take us to like gun shows, and also the same places that hosted gun shows would also occasionally host motorcycle like swap meets, and he just kind of did not ride a motorcycle and was antithetical to his being.
Right.
But he just kind of like people watched and walked around and looked at stuff. And I remember I got a leather vest with like a, like a biker leather vest. And I loved that thing for a while. But yeah, now at my age currently, like I don't need to like glob onto a motorcycle biking group as an identity expression.
I rode a motorcycle once in my life. I was a child. That's a fun fact, Laura, similar story. Adult man driving, I'm behind holding on for dear life. And when I got off, burned both my calves on the exhaust pipe. And, I was like, that's it. That's good for me. I'm sold there. I'm a sedan guy. I know where I fit. I'm not even interested. Like, I'm not a car person either. I'm not a really machine person. You know what I mean? Like, but I'm not a car person. But when it comes to cars, like I don't want a sporty car. I don't want like a drop top. I don't want any of that shit. I don't like a coupe. I don't want, I just want 4 doors, 6 seats, and I wanted to have a little bit of like, I don't like bubbly looking cars. I feel like a lot of cars today look bubbly. My fucking Civic is bubbly. Like it's like
is it?
It's like,
is
yes,
that bubbly?
yes. It's like there's no hard angles on it. It's all
it's not
soft.
good for like going fast. Oh, going.
Yeah, but I like
gas.
I like a hard angle, so to speak.
No
I like a hard angle. Like I liked
aerodynamics.
I had a 300. Well, so like the Acura TLX I like, and that has some harder angles to it. It's not all like just looks like a fucking Jetson thing with wheels on it.
Yeah, sleek.
No, but that's what, but I'm saying the TLX is sleek too, but it still has some harder angles. Like I can get behind that one, but I had a 300, and that was like, and I had a Chrysler New Yorker when I first started driving, and it's like that's more my speed. I like angles. I do.
Fair enough.
I do.
I mean,
angle of the dangle. You know what I mean? I do enjoy it.
Yeah. Other than that, there was an Aliens video game that I was highly and just
looking forward to.
Year of anticipation.
Really?
And Aliens Dark Descent. And it is, if anyone knows video games, XCOM. It's very much like XCOM. Yeah, so that same kind of, it's not necessarily turn-based, but it is, you're controlling the squad again and your strategy. It is probably there's some bugs. There's some bugs.
Rated pretty well. It's got mostly positive reviews. Yeah,
in terms of like capturing that second movie and capturing what most fans want out of a video game, it is probably the best. I think it is the best Alien. I mean, did
you like Isolation?
So I think Isolation, like that was my hesitation. Like it is up
Isolation
there. It is up there with Isolation in terms of like
getting the feel of the world.
I think that one got Alien, and I think this one, in a different way, gets Aliens. So even though there's still some bugs to it, that's the way video games are put out now, as the debugging process is out in the wild. But I'm excited for expansions or what else. I mean, there's some rough edges. Some of the character graphics are really just, but most of your action is polished and
the gameplay itself.
It's great.
I mean, there's a lot of bad Alien games.
Oh, tons. And I played all of them.
So like when a good one comes out, it's like, yes, let's hold on to this. More of this, please.
Goodness. So yeah, there's definitely been bad ones. And as a fan, like, I think I had said this previously about Aliens, my bar is kind of low in terms of like, if I get something that engages me as a fan, it doesn't have to move mountains or anything. I'll probably roll with it.
Time, bro.
But this one meets and exceeds my lower bar. So like, keep this going, folks. It was a worthwhile play. So if anyone's interested,
you recommend it?
I recommend it. Yeah,
nice.
Yeah,
I want to play some video, but I don't have time right now, Chuck. I got to get together in my life right now.
You got to dust out the Wayne's coat on the floor, and
I got to get it together.
Yep.
Yeah. There was something I wanted to ask you. Have you picked out a Halloween costume yet?
I have not, because I still
Laura and I just decided like 2 weeks ago.
Okay. And this is the tip of the cards. My alien rifle is still in like painted pieces and primered. So I haven't reassembled that. And the jumpsuit that I had last time, again, tipping the cards in terms of, where I was from I weighed more, and I picked that thing up the other day, and I was like, oh, I bet you I swim in that thing. That's not going to be what I want.
Right.
I have to see if that works out. But I am, as you can hear, I'm kind of hovering towards a progression of movie. That is kind of, I don't know, that's in the ballpark kind of thing. There may be a drastic change from that, depending on what my wife wants to engage with that. But I'm thinking about it.
Okay, good. Do you also watch Turtles?
Watch Turtles and like the current animated?
Yeah, the movie.
Oh, the movie. Oh, yeah, it was fabulous. Loved it.
So
a lot of people say that. I know you didn't like it.
No, I didn't. But I didn't dislike it.
Yeah. So I'll reel the fabulous back a little bit. It was good. It was better than the live action kind of stuff over the last.
So I don't know. I got to watch those again.
Okay.
I don't know if I prefer this over the first one. And I don't know if I view it much better than the second one. I feel like the second one was with Rocksteady and Bebop. Okay. And I do remember that did you ever see those, Joe?
I did.
They nailed Rocksteady and Bebop in that live action.
I liked it.
They nailed it. The first one was a little weird because the turtles seemed overpowered, like they were bulletproof, and there was a bunch, like, do you remember that? Like, they were like, there was like army people or some shit shooting at them, and it was like just bouncing off of them.
It's like,
Yeah, it was a little strange, but like, I don't remember.
I think it's
hating
necessary for them to exist in this world.
Maybe. Yeah, that's why maybe they need a little bit more ninja. Because they were huge also. You know what I mean? Like,
and that was one thing that like this movie kind of, it gave that some service. It basically was like, hey, to exist in this world, it was still kind of a, character building and a reintroduction of the Turtles, their origin story. But I think it kind of, it made them vulnerable. I thought they were vulnerable teenagers in this who, were ninjas.
I think they were definitely teenagers. I think that maybe they were like 13.
Yeah. Well, so I actually, at first, they are modern teenagers.
Yes.
And it was like my nephews are chuckleheads, and they acted kind of like them, versus if you would have taken the Turtles out of the 90s as teenagers and plopped them down this movie, most of us would be great. Yeah. But it is adapted for
its time
now,
I think
which
that's
I
fair.
appreciate that.
So I loved when they were weird, but they were like making like viral videos or what, and
that's what the kids do.
Yeah,
I think.
It was like drill talk. It was like they're like we outside, you heard? Like that's the exact. It's like, and they're in New York, New York drill. Like it was like definitely like copying that. You know what I mean? Like, and I think that there was a bit before the film where they kind of give a behind the scenes, which I wish they hadn't, because it spoiled some things for me. Mm-hmm. But in that, they said like the teenage kids that they got to play those characters improvised some scenes, and I'm guessing that We Outside, you heard, was not written by the screenwriter.
Right. And it was authentic in terms of like, oh man, I see my teenage nephews in these kids. And it was, again, similar feeling in Mario, how it's kind of like, okay, I identify it, but it is passing the torch a little bit to the next generation.
Yeah.
And it's completely appropriate if you have modern teenagers and make them act like modern teenagers. I thought that was well done, even though I look at modern teenagers and go, what?
Yeah, I do think that they were a bit too young for my preferences. Mm-hmm. Like, I think I got the 13-year-old Turtles, and I think I would have preferred maybe the 17-year-old Turtles.
Okay.
But I do want to say what I did love. I loved We Outside. Mm-hmm. Of course. I loved Splinter. I think they really nailed Splinter. They had a good grip on. It's a new interpretation of his point of view, but it made sense to me.
Yeah.
And I feel like his spirit was right as like the father.
Yeah, and that core idea of, I was mistreated, I am trying to protect you from them, and then comes to terms with that.
Yeah. And they changed some things. Like it wasn't. I always get the names confused, but it wasn't a guy that turns into a rat. It's just a rat that grows into a bigger rat.
Okay.
Yep.
But I didn't hate it, and it made more sense probably than a rat watching his trainer do kung fu. And, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, and I feel
does any of that have to make sense in the giant turtle ninja movie?
Well, so the only thing that you had to buy
about that.
The only thing that you had to buy into is the ooze.
Yeah.
That's the only real point of purchase. If you can separate that in your head and saying like, okay, this is the thing that makes this thing fantastic, and I'm okay with it, then I think a lot of turtle tellings are generally grounded.
Yeah.
If you can make that distinction.
It doesn't ask you to jump other than that.
Interdimensional alien part.
Well, yes. Not so much that bit.
Yes.
But like the Turtles, Splinter, Shredder, Foot Clan, like the core of what the Turtles are. I love the animation.
Yes,
Loved
absolutely. That dark, gritty, but able to kind of move into bright moments at times. But go back to the gritty.
Yeah, and stylized, and like it has its own identity.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It doesn't. It's kind of like the Spider-Man shit.
I think it evokes it. It doesn't copy it.
No, but that's what's special, I think, is that like when you see those Spider-Man designs, it's instantly recognizable as like it's not unlike Batman the Animated Series, like where they look like Doritos, you know what I mean, with legs and arms.
Yeah.
Like
all those animated series.
Yeah.
The same look.
It's like, but it's iconic, it's distinct, it's unique, it's recognizable,
and it's fresh for the evolution that they've gone through, whether it be the 90s, the comics, or the iterations of animated turtle stuff for the last 15 years.
I agree. And I liked the kind of theme of acceptance, of like wanting acceptance, the challenge of obtaining acceptance, the means to which one gains acceptance, all kind of talked about, all kind of handled well. I dug all that.
They definitely explored that in kind of it wasn't just the central, it was the central theme, but that wasn't just on rails. There was a lot of other branching diversions from that, whether it be April, whether it be these other mutants. Like it all touched on it and then brought it together, and that was they could have dropped the ball on that.
Yeah. Now I have to get into the things I didn't care for.
Okay.
I don't really feel like they did a Splinter aside. I don't really feel like they did a great job of defining those turtles. I feel like they just leaned on the kind of stereotype archetype of the character. So like Raphael just every now and then says like, I'm angry.
Yeah.
But doesn't really show you that he's angry other than telling you that he's angry. And like my baby even said it. She was like, he doesn't seem all that angry, until like, and even Michelangelo, like, he's the party dude, as they say in the song, Joseph, but he doesn't really seem to be that much more of a party dude than Donatello, or they all kind of seem like they're very similar with the exception of Leo. I feel like Leo is the one that they kind of gave a little bit more to.
Yeah. With the, like,
when he snitched on him.
Out. Yeah. Well, so like, I think they had like a weak thread to each one of those. Like, take Michelangelo, for example. Party guy, comic relief.
Party dude.
Yeah.
Raphael is cool, but cool but rude.
Yeah. So the essence, though, that they kind of tried to modernize it, like he was all about improv.
Yes.
So like the new Michelangelo is still a comedian, but he's focusing on improv as that.
But even that, I didn't.
Nice effort, but
Even that, if they would have made him
Execution.
like throughout the movie try to do improv
yes,
during like not on stage, but just like while they're fighting.
Yeah.
And he like takes a stab at it, like, how was that? How was something.
they didn't. They like stake the flag, and then they.
This is what this person does.
And then they didn't return to it or really enrich it, but
Yeah.
like maybe once or twice they mentioned
They
it
just
again.
try to tell you what the character is without showing you what the character is.
This one's angry.
Yeah.
But don't look for why he's angry or how he's angry. He's just take our word for it, and then he'll tell you a couple times when he gets angry throughout this movie.
Not that he's
Yeah.
punching walls and
Correct.
Yep.
Correct.
Yeah.
So like I don't really feel like they did, and I'll be honest, I feel the same way with the evil mutants or the bad guys. Like they didn't really. They just say like this one does this thing, this one sings, this one is fun,
Yes.
this one is an idiot, this one, you know what I mean? It's
Yes.
like it's the same thing.
It's like go ahead and buy each one of those to put on your shelf.
Yeah, exactly. You're not wrong.
Like, because it would have been. They started to get there with Superfly.
yes,
Like we had some character development there,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm glad they did what they did with Shredder. At least right now.
yeah. I agree.
But I definitely think they watered down what they could have done with one or two of those, or three. I would have said three. I would
Agreed.
have said Bebop, Rocksteady, and Superfly, which was the whole Baxter Stockman.
So why
thing.
not just make him Baxter Stockman?
Yes.
But movies tend to do these nowadays where they don't give you the thing that could have just given you.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
like
I don't know why.
I don't. It's like Baxter Stockman's in the movie.
Yeah.
He's
they-
in the
but
movie.
they
He
separate from-
has a fly that he's working with
Yeah.
in the movie. Then the shit goes left. The fly becomes the mutant, and Baxter Stockman, I guess, dies seemingly.
Yeah.
But it's nice. Like I've always been like on the like. Whereas I know we've had a couple iterations. I think in Tyler Perry played him in the live action ones, like the second one.
Yeah. I remember that.
But I've always been like Baxter Stockman should be a black guy.
Yep.
He was a black scientist in the comics. He should be a black scientist now. And like they did that, which was nice to see.
And
but then they
just,
killed him,
whoop, dropped the ball on
or
it.
maybe killed him.
Yeah.
Well, but they had to stick with the animal turning into the giant thing, and not people turning into the animal.
So so maybe. But the other part of that, which I'm glad is the giant bug connected to other animals. Dumb.
Yeah.
Dumb.
Yeah.
You didn't need it. Not all of these movies need this thing that's going to threaten the whole city.
Yep.
Like it's a trope now. It's like and they all fall victim to it. Like just make
They
them
feel like you need to have a stake.
Yeah.
Like, doesn't always have to be that big.
Sometimes the stake could just be like, look, these guys are trying to do something that's good. Like they had this weapon that was going to mutate all citizens. And had they just been like, that's the stake. We just had to stop them from achieving that goal.
Yeah.
That's good enough. You don't need to turn them into a gianter monster.
Yep.
In order to fight, just to have something that's like a big threat, literally.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and just like I thought that was lazy.
Yeah. As soon as that happened, I checked out.
Yeah.
Let's see what else I have on here. I don't like April.
I don't either.
Yep.
They spent
a problem.
They spent time out of all of the characters in there. I think they spent the most time on her.
I agree.
Developing.
I agree. I think
and
that
I still don't care about her.
Yeah, so I think the character, because I think the character that she is actually really well defined. It's just not April.
Yeah.
It's some other person. And she's pretty cool.
Yeah.
She's just not April. And like, it's like, even the fact like she wants to be a reporter. She's in high school. That's another thing. I feel like she should be older.
I do too.
Like she
I think
has to
she
be the
should be
mother character,
Yeah.
not the like romantic interest, whatever that was.
I think
which was fucking weird.
Yeah. I think you could take her. You could. You could keep it as like a college, journalism student.
Yeah.
You could do that. That there's enough of a separation, and so double-edged sword on like the whole puking and thing.
Which that was one point that I did laugh.
I laughed out loud for that one. That was
I like a good
love puking.
I like a good
I
puke.
love it.
Yeah, and it was over the top. It was nice. It wasn't just like they're gone. That was well done. But that so like there's a character arc. This person who was embarrassed and not accepted.
Yep.
And overcame a fear and cool. I'm okay with that. I just the age thing, like being close to the same age and in high school. I mean, I always, as a kid, I always had the kind of like crush on April O'Neil because she was a little bit older, but not like an old lady or anything. So I think that they kind of dropped, again, a spot where they dropped the ball on that because you spent the time, other than Splinter.
Yeah.
I think April and Splinter got the most
And then Superfly.
in Superfly.
Yep.
Which is odd when you think about the Turtles.
Yep.
But yeah, it just makes it hard to kind of care for that character.
Yeah, I just didn't find her to have the April vibe. She has like I feel like they're trying to fit a round peg in a square hole, and I think it lacks as a result. And like I think that like it bums me out when I think about like culture war shit with all this shit because like you have this character Baxter Stockman that you could have really dug your heels into and done something great.
Yeah.
But you got him the fuck out of there.
Quick.
You threw 80 pounds on April, made her a black woman, and now you're going to invest a different character archetype onto her. Mm-hmm. She doesn't have that aunt feel, that mom feel of the Turtles. It's like it just feels tonally wrong to me. But I mean, this is a new iteration and all that, so I am bringing in baggage, admittedly.
Yep.
But I'm big on that. I'm big on capturing the spirit. Like Splinter is different. But the spirit is right.
Okay.
The big thing for me,
And he has an Asian accent, which I think look better or worse, I buy it.
well, it was
Why would a rat have an accent?
And let me tell you something. It is thick.
Was it an Asian rat?
Yeah.
wasn't it Jackie Chan that did the? I think it was Jackie Chan that did the voice.
I didn't know that. That'll upset Joe.
Oh no,
because Jackie Chan's always back into Chinese.
Yeah. No, the thing that got me with April wasn't a race swap thing. Like that could have worked. The thing that gets me about April is that the same age romantic kind of
that
thing.
was fucked up.
That's what
It's weird.
I don't think so. I don't think Turtle and April romantic thing is new.
It may not be. It may not be. But
so you're right. It's not new. But the thing about the age difference was it was unobtainable. It was the same. Listen, maybe I'm reading into this, but it was the same perspective that I had of April that the Turtles had. She's a little bit older. She's with us. I'm crushing on her, but she's not really obtainable. And she still fulfills that kind of mom of these teenagers role. And mom of these teenagers role doesn't vibe when you're like, dating her. It gets weird. So that was my qualm on that.
So I said it just lacks the kind of heart and soul to make it great. But that being said, I don't think it was bad.
No.
I have a lot of criticisms of it. I think it's just an average ass movie, but it's worth seeing.
Yeah.
I gave it a 6 out of 10, and I called it the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I just think it's fine. It's just it's a Turtles movie that's fine.
Boy, I'm above a 6. I'm between high 7, low 8. I'm excited that this IP is getting a modern animation treatment. I'm excited that like they're capitalizing on the success of Spider-Man. I'm willing in a lot of cases to allow a fresh interpretation of this because, I mean, the comic books have had between the two writers, a storied past. So, like, yeah, you can take some creative liberties, but yeah, there are certain kind of components. The Baxter Stockman, the April thing that as a fan, I'm like, okay, that's definitely why it doesn't get. I'm going to say solid 7 then.
There you go.
Because I can't. I'll go out and see it. Yeah.
I was talking to my family about the first one. And let me say, my kids all loved it.
So, first, define your first.
The live action film.
Okay.
The first live action
The
film.
1992, 94.
I think it was 91 or 90.
Man. Okay, sure. Okay.
But like, they fucking nailed that shit.
Yeah, that was great.
Like, to this day,
Yeah,
that shit still feels good. Like, and it's not nostalgia. And I'll tell you why it's not nostalgia. I loved Secret of the Ooze when that shit came out. I can barely sit through that shit now. It doesn't hold up the same way. But what they nailed in that first one was the heart and soul of the Turtles. Like, when fucking Raph gets pissed and he leaves, and then he gets fucking jumped and his ass kicked and thrown into the fucking skylight, and then they're forced to fight. Then they are forced to flee. They take him out to the fucking country, and Leonardo, who got into the beef with him, like, looks over him the entire time. And then when he comes to, and Leo gets all fucking like emotional, and Raph's like, cut it out, like, But Leonardo wants to say I'm sorry, and Raphael cuts him off and says, I know. It's like, that's the brotherhood of like, these are brothers.
Yeah.
They're gonna beef, they're gonna get into these things, but they love each other. And I don't feel like that soul has ever really been captured as effectively. Going back to it, like, even then, right, like, they're having this moment, and I know you don't have to say it, it's known, you don't have to say what's understood.
Yeah.
So, but then, like, Donnie and Michelangelo are at the threshold of the door, and they're like, it's a Kodak moment, but like, it breaks the tension, but like, it's just done so fucking right. Phil wrote in our group chat, like, it's the best Mirage representation, this new Turtles. I strongly disagree. I think that that shit, the first arc of that 90s live action film is almost straight out. It's reinterpreted, but it's almost straight out of the books. Same thing happens. Turtle goes out, gets his ass kicked, gets thrown back in. They roll. You know what I mean? It's like the same shit.
I read the books.
Then it goes way left, and they go into space and all sorts of shit. But the first one's pretty grounded. But like, it's just I don't know. Like, so I take that, right? I think they nailed that. The cartoon is like good fun. The pilot was awesome, and then it kind of has varying degrees of goofiness from then on out.
Yeah.
And then then there's Secret of the Ooze, which is just like, it's like the watered down version of the first one.
Yeah.
And then
commercialized it.
Correct.
Like, this is now, let's sell stuff.
Correct. And then you had the Samurai one, which was just awful. And then shit got out of control by that point, right? You got Turtles on stage with doing music shows across the country and all that shit. Like, shit got out of control.
I wasn't here for that.
So yeah, there was like a live action band, like that, like the Turtles like performed music around the country, like men in turtle suits. Like the whole bit. And then there was a cartoon movie that was like 2005, 2006-ish. It like had a theatrical release.
Yeah.
Where like they found like these ancient things that brought these. It wasn't terrible. It was fine.
There's been a lot of, like, when you look back, I think I looked at a chart of it, and it was like 7 Turtles movies prior to this one, something along those lines. I mean,
Turtles never really went away.
Yeah,
they always had some
they had
form
staying
in media.
power.
Yeah,
but they that movie wasn't bad. It's a little too fantastic maybe, but the animation was great. Had its own style, all that kind of stuff. And then there was the live action, the Bay ones, and I got to go back and watch them because I feel like people are shitting on them now. But when I watched that,
I liked the first one.
I think I liked the first one.
Yeah.
The second one, I remember thinking, okay.
I don't remember as well, so I must not like.
It's the same kind of arc of like decent, and then you try to capture.
Because the second one is the nunchuck band.
Yeah.
Like, you love that. I mean, I do love it. I do, and I love that they did it. But it's also simultaneously too much. But like this one, it just feels like a very safe way to do it. Kind of generally speaking, it doesn't. I don't know. It just feels very surfacey to me. It does, and that's not to say that it's bad. It's just it doesn't plunge in, to my liking.
So there was something I watched, and it's a documentary. I don't know if it's on Netflix or Hulu or YouTube for what it matters. But it is a documentary about the two authors of this and how they wrote the comic book. They scraped. They didn't have any cred in the industry. They got this together. They had a good run. It became a marketing machine, selling stuff. They were rich. They got into
You're talking about Eastman and Laird?
Yes.
Okay.
This big feud.
Yeah.
They separated. They kind of like did their own separate things. That's how we got like the Ronin story out,
which supposedly is pretty awesome. I haven't read it.
It's hard because like I would probably go start with that. I haven't read it, but that's probably what I want to start with.
Yeah, people love it. Like,
there's a lot of statues of it.
Yeah.
They kind of came back together afterward and kind of, reconciled. And it's a pretty interesting, I want to say it's like an hour-ish documentary. I'm sure that, you search for turtle stuff and that's going to pop up. But that was worthwhile watching and kind of understanding the progression and how we got what we got, how we got the original Turtle movie and how we got everything in the 2000s and what that period of time meant, where it wasn't really them writing. So,
to go back to that the first live action one, like then after Raph and Leo like settle their differences, they meditate, right? And then the spirit of Splinter comes up through the fire, a bit much, got it. But then it's heavy-handed, but tells them like, your family and you have to come together, which is what they just did.
Yeah.
They came together. It's just, that's it. It is a family. It's a very Fast and Furious kind of idea. But it's a very family.
Chris is not here to...
It's about families, it's about brotherhood, specifically brothers.
Mm-hmm.
And when you get it right, it's unmistakably right. But I don't think this gets it wrong, which is important.
Correct.
That's the saving grace of this. It didn't get it wrong.
It just didn't go
It just didn't go in enough, so to speak.
And I think it leaves itself open to do more things.
Sure.
And maybe they go a different route, or I think that there was enough like Easter eggs in there to kind of. I think we're going to get Technodrome kind of Shredder and all that. Where I would. I'm drawing a blank on the guy with the Krang. I think we'll probably
he's in the second live action one.
Yeah.
Do you remember? Yes.
Yeah.
Like in a bodysuit, like the whole thing.
Yeah. I think
they went in.
They went in.
And I think they are
a different way,
leaving room for this easily. And great. Like explore. I would explore what you got in the material, and maybe we're going to get a little bit of left right on how they deal with that, but I'll go see a second one.
Yeah, for sure. Anything else, Chuggio, as of late?
No, I mean Oppenheimer was great.
Oh God, we were talking about that a bit before the show. Like it's just one of those things. I'm still thinking about. I'm still wrestling with. I still have mixed feelings about all of the actions of it and so forth. Like, which I think it's intention.
Yeah. Thought provoking. Absolutely.
That whole idea that we have here that comes up often here about, the slippery slope of, moral elitism, and just at some point you think you're taking this huge moral high road and able to look down on everybody else. And then before you've done it, you've done these monstrous things in the name of it, and you're no better than fucking anybody. In fact, you may be worse, but up to interpretation at the same time. Like we were talking, like they built this fucking bomb and they were so on it because the idea was that Germany was 8 months ahead of them.
Yep.
And
we can't let them.
Those motherfuckers, like they're destroying the world without fucking bombs.
Yeah. I buy into that argument.
Yeah, I do too.
It's a compelling one.
100%. But then once Germany was defeated, Japan's still around, but Germany has been defeated. So the bomb isn't really a threat anymore. but you've invested all this money and you know what I mean? And it's like back to the old ways of doing things, and then it's like, it ended the war,
Yep.
but it's like, it's a lot of innocent people that fucking perished in that shit that, and we were talking upstairs, like it'd be so different if like they had bombed like military places.
Yes, not just
You still demonstrated the power.
or shit like that. You still demonstrate the power. And we're saying like the whole reason why they dropped the second bomb was just so the motherfuckers didn't think we only had one.
Yeah.
That was it. And like it's a good thing that nobody was like, all right, but is there a third?
Yeah. Because
we'd have been in trouble.
Yeah, they would have dropped another one.
Yeah.
I think they had 6.
Oh, did they?
Historically, I believe.
I thought all they had was the 2.
No,
really?
They had the ability, maybe not the next day to drop one, but they definitely had, if Japan didn't stop.
Bend the knee.
Yeah, they had the ability to quickly produce more. So yeah, it was the interesting thing about Oppenheimer, and probably to the brilliance of Nolan, is it's still very timely because we're in that artificial intelligence. It's the same. It is the same kind of technology that we need to beat. China to it, because we know what China will do with it.
Right.
And that's a compelling argument. Problem is,
but that's always the compelling argument, though. It's very easy to set up.
Yeah,
some kind of
absolutely.
strong man and be like, somebody else is doing it.
It's the us versus them. Yeah. It's that kind of pull in humanity, utilization of fear, that they'll have it and they'll use it against you. But it is very similar, if not worse, on, once that genie is out of the bottle. The possibilities are the things of nightmares. And at the time, that was the same thing. And I thought the end of Oppenheimer was a masterpiece, but the crescendo at the end of the conversation with Einstein and that flash of all these nuclear weapons on the planet like this.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say exactly the conversation, but he was talking about, what we're going to do to the earth. And his vision is like, well, we didn't actually do it that way, but we get to the same results.
Yeah.
And I thought that was kind of a powerful period on that movie that is timely, to this day. So yeah, it's an important movie, and for anyone to see.
That bit also about like that, I forget the quote or whatever, but they're like, one day they'll be having potato salad and salmon in your honor.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. That's what it's about.
Dude, it's so good.
Yeah. The one thing that I will I have to hammer in about is the sound. If you haven't seen it, and if you're like, oh, I'll see it on at home, you better have the best sound system, because what he does with sound, what he intentionally evokes emotions in you with it. He intentionally overdoes it, and it evokes certain emotions. I don't recall, like maybe you do, maybe someone's done it once in a movie where you're like, oh, you got the shivers on your spine.
Yeah.
He does it multiple times to the point that it's oppressive, and that is the point.
Correct.
Like, and that is one of the most remarkable ways to deal with sound in a movie that I've seen.
And it builds.
Yes.
Like in the very beginning, it's just like a spark, and then a few sparks,
a rumble,
and then a bunch of sparks, and then sparks moving around, and then a rumble, and then and it's basically talking about harnessing that power, and it's
you feel they can't give you the heat, they can kind of give you the light, but the way they impart that feeling is they do a masterful job with the sound in that movie. And I see it in a theater just for that.
100%. I agree. Anything else, Chucky?
No, just dumb stuff on motorcycles and, yeah. good times.
Are you going to go to dirt tracks and do jumps and shit?
So I'm going to go to classes that actually like have like tracks to do dirt stuff. I don't know about jumps, but my thing is like
Hops,
more
little hops.
hops. Yeah, if I can. Yep. I've been like tractoring it around in these woods area very slowly to kind of get, and then like jumping off a curb. And my next big step is to go up a curb. So like it's baby steps over here.
Good. It sounds
Yeah.
like you're taking it safe.
Yeah.
Joe, how was your nerd week?
Bro, I'm in my hyper-focused state. I'm not doing shit. I'm just blundering and while on Discord watching hours and hours of Minecraft being played
Oh, really?
by my friends.
What started the Minecraft thing?
Well, Minecraft's been around for a long time. A lot of people
No,
are on and off into-
not what started Minecraft. What started your involvement?
Yeah, I'm not playing Minecraft.
But you're watching people play.
Yeah, because I'm hanging on Discord, and usually on Discord we can share a screen.
I feel like usually it's not Minecraft that you've been doing on Discord.
It's been a while now. Because
Was it Minecraft in the past?
no,
I feel like you just told me you learned how to juggle, and I'm like, when did you start learning how to juggle? And you're like, juggling's been around forever.
for weeks. I thought it's like Krista got into it a while
okay.
back, and then like so while I'm in Discord hanging out, usually everyone else is playing in the same server of Minecraft. So somebody or everyone would be sharing screen.
Gotcha.
So I would have it up while I'm doing Blender,
Gotcha.
so I can see what they're doing and I know what they're talking about.
Yeah, my kids love it. Love Minecraft.
Yeah, they have a persistent world, and they just like it's cool. It's cool to see. They're passionate about talking about building cities and shit. I'm like, good on you, man.
Yeah, I mean that's like digital Legos. Like I played
Yeah,
it for
yeah.
a while back on like Xbox last gen, and I see the appeal because it's just open creativity and a functional game, and it is digital Legos. That's
People
what it
can
was
build
for me.
such impressive shit with it, like reproduce like entire cities digitally.
Or you can do something dumb like dig the biggest pit. And
Yes, is how that part goes.
Yeah, it's just it's and everything in between. And I
Selena's
think-
always making llamas and then slaughtering them.
Yeah, that's a thing. See what they look like on the inside.
Yeah.
But yeah, so they have one. They have a server. Everyone shares a server. It's persistent, so it always exists no matter what. So anything you do to it, it's permanent. So like it's not like that's why I was asking Selena earlier. Do you have a server? It's like no, they just play different games every time. And I was like, oh, that's interesting. I don't understand the appeal of that as much. But so like this world is like they're actively creating. Reminds me of like Inception. Remember when they were in a dream world? They're like, let's just build shit, and then you just keep building shit. So that's cool. So I'm watching, and everyone has different shaders. So like the way Minecraft looks is like blocks and stuff.
Yeah,
but like
yeah.
you can make them look different depending on shaders and texture packs. So everyone, even though they're in the same world, when I see all the screens, everyone's actually look different. Depends on the preference. Like Chris's is all like fun and colorful and shit. While I look at my other friends, the screen is like fucking looks like hell. I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
that's what you like to look at all the time. That's fine. But meanwhile, I'm like just doing Blender. I've been a little bit frustrated actually last couple of days. I feel stuck. I'm looking forward to the next step of what I want to do, which is like rigging and animating, and I'm already like studying that, and I want to do that. But in order to do that, I have to finish a model, and like I'm just not feel like I'm getting there. I'm just not happy enough with it. But I think I'm making progress today. I don't know. It's like as a creator, as an artist, like you draw and you're just not happy with it. You look at it and you just get mad, and you just like you draw the same line over and over again. The fucking line doesn't look right. But sometimes you walk away and you come back, it's like, it doesn't look that bad.
Yeah.
Like I remember last night, because I was like working on just a leg for like 4 hours last night, and by like 3 o'clock in the morning I was pissed. I'm like, this is not working out. I'm going to bed. And I came back this morning to look at it, to work on it, and say, oh, it's not that bad. I just need to give myself room and like maybe like take breaks and also not be so harsh on making things.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm doing mostly, and then finished the British Bake Off show, the current season. It's not the best. I didn't like it as much. It was still entertaining, but like I feel like the contestants aren't as good. The products aren't as good.
I hate to hear it,
but I still enjoyed it.
Yeah.
And I still this animes I want to get back to, but now I have like just no time. Like I don't. You talk about all this fucking housework and all this. I don't know. I don't have time for that. I have time for my brain has time for one thing at a time. If I'm not at work, the work is work. I gotta go make money, right?
Yeah.
But on my free time, I have partition things I have to do. Right. I have to certain level of cleanliness. I have to have toilet paper at home. I have to wash the dishes. Other than that, any other time I have. Well,
if you start using the dishwasher, it'll save you a couple minutes.
Fuck that. It doesn't. It's not as clean either.
It definitely saves you.
Definitely not.
My wife is the same way. I'm like you. I'm like, honey, there's a bunch of dishes. Put them in the dishwasher. She's like,
you wash by
nope,
hand.
I'm gonna wash it by hand.
The dishwasher is just a giant drying rack. That's all it is.
For you, and I mean, it's not like you're having a whole bunch of guests. It's like you're just, if the fork isn't 100% clean, it was just in you or Krista's mouth.
Yeah.
You know, but like if you're looking to save 15 minutes here or there, might do you some good.
But regardless how much time I have, 15 minutes more or less, my brain only has function for one thing at a time.
Right.
I cannot partition like Chris is like Pinkerton is like, oh no, I'll do 3 hours of Cyberpunk and then I'll go work in dioramas. I'm like, nah, I'm just gonna. If I'm playing Cyberpunk, it'd be just Cyberpunk to bedtime.
So I know that my shit, I had to formulate that shit a different. Like my level of activity, it has to, whatever it is, the higher levels had to be earlier in the day. Things have to kind of subside as they go throughout the day. So like if I'm planning on, maybe I could have the opportunity to play an hour of a video game, that 100% is going to be right before dinner or right after dinner. Okay. You know what I mean? Because I could not do Cyberpunk and then go work on dioramas for 3 hours.
I can't do it the other way. Like it's like I can't focus on anything. Like I'm thinking about.
Well, to me,
thing.
I think it's different just because like all right, so like I have reviews to do. Yes, and I got 3 done today, and I would like to get 3 more done today, and that would put me in a really good place. But when we finish this, my kids are going to be ready to like get into the evening. My wife would be home. I can't just be like, I mean, I could, but like I would feel like a real deadbeat if I was like, all right, everybody, good luck. Good luck on dinner.
Everybody.
Throw something in the microwave. I got Optimus Prime movie version 8 awaits.
Yeah. But yeah, I've been amping up my own hype for Armored Core to come out. So I know when that game comes out, which is, what day is it? In about 18 days. That's all I'm going to be doing until I'm done with that, and then I'll probably go back to Blender. My brain just works that way. Like I've tried, because I'm also having my cosplay project,
right?
So I try to like start working on that too, to balance. Okay, I'm doing this during the day and do that during the night, and then Chris wanted me to play Minecraft. It's like, okay, I'll download it. I'll try to play Minecraft at night with you, and I'll do Blender during the day. But I can't because my brain's not in it. Like when I'm doing whatever else, in my mind, I'm just like I'm just thinking about blendering. I cannot get off of it, so to speak. So, but that's fine because I have no kids and I have no responsibilities. I can do whatever the fuck I want with my time.
Well, yeah, responsibilities, but no kids for sure.
I take care of my
bills and such.
My real, like, actual responsibilities.
Yeah.
Like necessities. I do. So, I mean, speaking of bills, make money. Like, I just decided 2023 is the year we're just going to spend all the money.
Okay.
Like doing all the things instead of like doing a project here once a year or whatever, because I've already spent so much fucking money and put so much in the house. So we're gonna next Sunday we're gonna have a contractor come out. We're probably gonna redo the kitchen and a master bathroom.
Oh, really?
Yep, this year. Within the next couple months.
Wow.
Just fuck it.
Exciting.
Fuck it, we ball.
Who are you? Are you using somebody that you know, or are you...
people who has worked on my house before?
Oh, okay.
I've had several. Like the first people who renovated my house when I moved in.
Okay.
Who also was, did other stuff. So we're just looking at measurements, picking out stuff, and we're just gonna gut the whole kitchen, gut the whole bathroom, and redo it. Because I hate that fucking plastic ass Tupperware of a tub.
Oh yeah.
I hate that shit. And then like I hate the shower. I don't know if you have the same shower, but with it's impossible to clean.
Oh yeah. Then we do.
It's just tiny tiles.
Tiny tiles.
Who the fuck uses tiny tiles and grout in the fucking shower?
Yeah.
I don't know who designed the space design is fine, but the material chosen is fucking dumb. I would rather have just one of those plastic one sheet stand-in, and you just fucking.
That's where you wanted your
hose the shit
Tupperware.
down.
You wanted a Tupperware shower. Not a
Yes,
Tupperware tub.
yeah. Well, on ceramic, but so that's exciting to look forward to. More fucking work, more fucking money. Probably end up going to spend up. I don't know how much money I'm going to spend.
Yeah, I'm in a house mood too, man. Like
I mean, you're doing it manually.
Yes.
You're like cleaning and
yes, but like I'm buying chair. I'm going to buy some chairs. I'm going to buy I think I'm going to buy a new like sectional for the living room, like the family room area. Like
isn't that new? Didn't you?
No, that black shit, that black leather shit. Like that's
no. Okay, dude, you got the couch down here.
Yeah, it's down here. Yeah.
But,
Yeah, I just bought a love seat. And
From Lovesac? Did you get it from
no,
Lovesac?
I didn't. I considered it.
It's just
I
expensive,
did.
man.
it is.
I bought this at Lazy Boy and it was expensive.
Yeah, so I think that's where I'm looking.
Is it worth it though?
I haven't got it yet
Oh, okay.
because I ordered it and they're like, yeah, that's going to be 18 weeks.
Oh,
And I'm like,
are they building it by hand?
yeah, apparently, yeah.
It sounds like they just fucking putting that shit together.
It's leather, so they're like, yeah, it's a little bit more. But actually, I don't mind because I put down half and they'll take half on delivery. And I'm not even like, I'm essentially financing it over that time by, but not. It's just like, yeah, pay us at the end. I'm like, oh, okay. I don't have to put the $4,000 or $5,000 on a credit card.
Yeah.
That's a
Cool.
lot of money for a chair.
It's two. It's love. So there's two of them.
So $2,000 for a chair. So it better be a comfortable chair.
So I own a recliner. It was the first piece of furniture I bought when I got my house, and it's a Lazy Boy recliner.
And then the second one was a TV stand.
Yes, it was a TV stand. Yep. Yeah, it was like a $2,000 leather chair, and so like this is, it scales about appropriate, but yeah, it was definitely like I saw, and it was a little bit of my wife's pressing because we had a couch and she would just want to be next to me. And it was like the couch had two reclining spots on opposite sides, and the middle was junk because of it.
Oh, it's just
And so she's always
spot.
yeah, and so she's always there, and it was just like, well, it takes up a lot of room. It doesn't make sense. So let's and it was hand me down stuff worn in. I was like, I'm going to sit in something comfortable. We're going to go buy this. And so,
Have you considered a giant mattress on the floor? Because that's what we have.
I mean, I do have a love sack. So that is,
We have like just a king size mattress on the floor.
yeah, she probably wouldn't go. She did drag like, so we, one of her coworkers, her roommate just like moved out and took all the furniture. And so she was like, I don't have any furniture. So my wife was like, why don't we give my coworker the couch? And I was like, well, we haven't got our love set or our love seat yet. And I was like, well, okay, that means we don't have to like wait to dispose of it and someone needs it. And so, I had a chair out there, like a regular reclining chair. And so she goes into like our spare bedroom and wants to pull the love sack out, and it's like a super sack. So it is. So it would, if it were in this room, it would take up the entire space that we're sitting in. Like it's that big.
That's a big ass love sack.
Yeah, so it is basically a fucking mattress.
Yeah, and like I leave it in that room because it's in a guest room, so like it kind of doubles as a chair, or you can sleep in it. But it is a challenge to get through doorways because it is just a big fluffy thing that you're squishing.
Giant sack.
And
Super sack.
I've moved that a couple times, and it's a pain in the butt to move. And so maybe I was a little cruel watching my wife. I was just sitting there, and she's like fighting this thing out for like 10 minutes to get it and put it next to me. 'Cause sweetheart just wants to sit next to me at any time, and she
Like a cat.
yeah, and so she put that there, and then she sat next to me, and she realized like, nope, this isn't gonna work. I helped her move it back in, but there was a little bit of like, she's gonna have to learn it this way. If I help her now,
She won't learn nothing.
so yeah, furniture, golly.
Yeah, it's a weird place in life to love toys and be passionate about nerd movies and then like talk about house shit.
Yeah.
I don't
can
know
get
where
it-
I am.
I think I can get excited about spending money on anything with enough time.
you
I'm
just like spending
like when
money.
it comes to like prep work, I'm like the Batman of spending money. Like as long as I have enough prep time,
You can spend it.
I can spend it like no another.
Yeah.
I don't need prep time. I can just spend it.
Yeah, like I need
On dumb shit.
I need the prep time to get my excitement.
Okay.
Once
you
my
can be excited about
Yes,
anything.
then I can start just spending out of control. You know, like I'm like like toys and then house shit or clothes or shoes or all I need to do is get excited enough to spend the money and then I am unstoppable. I'm unstoppable. We had a whole conversation, my wife and I, one time about like my relationship with money because I don't view money, I think, the way that most people do. And I think it has to do with my upbringing. To me, money is a tool, and that's the end of it. Like, I don't give a fuck about it. I don't care. Like, I don't have any kind of like. I don't even know if I have a whole lot of respect for it. It's like the same way that like I might use a hammer and like bang the fuck out of a nail and then throw it back into the toolbox. That's not a whole lot of respect for that hammer. I just use it.
Yeah.
So like when I was a kid, I'm gonna save some of the things that I did for money, but like very early on, my grandmother was very supportive, like with everything, but like she bought me a lot of music. So I got music
Ghostface
early.
Killer.
Yep, and I would go into places that I had no business going into in order to get this music early. And I would get the music. I would come home and I would make mixtapes and I would dub them and redub them and redub them and then go to school the next day and I wrote little inserts in them and little artwork on them and I would sell them for $10 a piece.
Yeah.
And then I would get the $40 or $50 that I needed to like do the thing that I wanted to do that weekend, and then I'd stop doing it. And then if something else came up that I wanted, I'd just make a few fucking more mixtapes and then I work, right? Like I have a career, but like I don't know shit about it. Like not the career, but the money side of it. I don't know my hourly wage. I have no fucking idea. All I know is that the fucking checks come in and the fucking lights stay on, and that's my wife handles all that shit. Yeah. But like then like this shit, right? All of this shit, YouTube, all of it. I was like, man, I want these toys. I was like, well, we can't afford them. Okay, well, I got to do something to be able to afford them. So I'll work overtime and I'll create this YouTube, and eventually I'll hopefully be able to stop working overtime and just do the YouTube shit and make the money that I need in order to have the things that I want.
It's like a middleman for you. It's
Yes.
just like it's just like a thing.
It's just a thing.
You don't even see it in itself as an object.
Nope.
Well, because there's some people that collect wealth,
Yeah, money.
as a justification, or like as a representation of their success. Like I need a pile of money next to me to show that I am, like they use it as an identity.
It's
crutch.
very. I mean, that's a common way to look.
Yeah,
at
it
money.
is.
I mean, I don't hoard money, but I collect money. But for utilitarian purposes, for me, it's like a safety net. For me, it's like if I lost my job. For me, it's like if I got in an accident. For me, it's retirement. Like I see my savings account as utility,
tool.
not something to show off, not something to be like, look how much money I have. It's like, oh, I feel safe.
Yeah.
You know.
See, and I have like investments and shit, right? Like this
You have
house.
no idea.
This house
Oh,
is an investment,
Yes.
right? But like as far as like wealth for like my kids and shit, I mean, we have a savings account and that kind of stuff, and like, but like, I'm planning on putting them through college,
Yeah.
and then you're on your own.
I mean, that's
You're on your own.
That's fair.
I'm going to do this for you,
Yeah, yeah.
and then you're on your own. And when I die, anything that I've accumulated, you're welcome to flip
it's your burden.
and keep for yourselves,
Yeah.
including the house, right? But like, I'm not saving up money for generational wealth. That's not my goal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're not saving up to past inheritance.
Yeah, I have like
You're trying to spend it all before you die, right?
Like a 401k and all that shit.
Yeah.
Like I have all that shit. And when I retire, it's a long story. I'm not going to go into it. When I retire, I will amass a lump sum of money, God willing, and it's a significant amount of money. And Laura was like, "What do you want to do with it?" You know, because like it fucks me up. But recently, somebody was like, somebody that I started working with, because in my head, I got 4 years until I can minimally retire, but I'll probably do far more.
I mean, that's
than
pretty young and soon.
that. Yeah, but That's in my mind, right?
Yeah.
But I just bumped into somebody that I got hired with, and they said something to me like, "Hey, man, 3 years and 7 months," and it was something about hearing that number 3. Where I was like, oh shit, that's soon shit. That's some soon shit.
It's less than Olympics.
4 might as well be 5. And then 5 might as well be 10. 3 was like, oh fuck.
That's
3
your
might
rule,
as well
though.
be 2. 2 might as well be 1.
That's just like your episode 3 and 3 out. 3 is your number.
Correct. So that shit fucked with me a little bit. But Laura was like, well, what do you want to do with it? You want to invest it? Do you want to, because it's a significant amount of money that most people won't come into, like because of shit that I've set up for myself. And I mean, we're not talking millions, but we're talking
lump
substantial.
sum, yeah.
And she was like, what do you want to do with it? And I was like, let's go just see the world. Like, let's take a couple trips over the course of like 3 years and like see all the shit that we want to see. See Japan, see,
Madagascar.
Well, probably not that one so much, but like, I would love to see the pyramids. I don't know what the temperature's like over there. I got to keep an eye on all that. Shit. But
There's a lot of sand.
but not so much
everywhere.
Not so much at that temperature, Joe.
Okay. well, the other temperature fluctuates just like Maryland.
But I mean, I want to go to Ireland. I want to go to Germany. I want to go to Paris. I want to see the world.
Yeah.
I want to see China.
Do you?
I want to see. I do. Like, I want to see Australia. I just want to see everything that there is to offer. Right. Mm-hmm. But most people, in fact, no one that I know that's working where I work or whatever is using that money in that way. They're using it to set up to pad retirement, to make sure they are good to go for the rest. But I'm like, man, fuck it. I'll start dancing on YouTube. I'll do something to figure it out. Fuck it, man. Like, I only get one go at this shit.
Ball.
You know what I mean? I
Yes.
only get one go at this shit. I'm not going to fucking be like, okay, cool, I'm going to die with $100,000 in the bank. Let's say I'm using numbers arbitrarily.
I wanted that with zero in my bank.
Just so I feel comfortable and not see a fucking dingo in real life. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Are you dumb? Are you dumb? I'm going to see a dingo.
I have no kids, so it's easy choice for me. I just need to not run out of money before I die.
Yeah.
But like, I want to time it so that I'm just out of money as I die.
Right.
So not to turn it too dark.
Yeah.
When I lost my dad, the days and weeks before,
You still haven't found him.
yeah, no, not at all. Lost him for good. No, he would talk about wanting to go to Yellowstone. He's like, I wish I could go to Yellowstone. My friend said it was the best. I said, Dad, you're sick, man. We can't. Like, I hope we get through this, but right now, there's no chance of that.
Right.
And he passed and left a large chunk of money, which helped me and my sisters, and
Sure.
I'm grateful for that.
Absolutely.
But in reality, like, that was to set him to live through whatever, and all of that hard work. Well, it didn't like go to the state; it went to his children and enriched their life. So that's hopefully fulfilling. But the idea of I gathered all of this stuff so in the future I can go do something. Why wait, man?
Yeah.
Like, that was the thing. He had waited. He had worked till
That's
65.
what a lot of people do.
Yeah.
They wait. I think they wait too long.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like, that's some of the stuff now. Like, the motorcycle is a little bit of why wait for me. Of like, well, I'm not going to be able to probably do that in my 60s.
Right.
Yeah.
So like, enjoy it now while I can, and
Right.
find the things that enrich your life in a large bank account at 70. I don't know that it has the same benefit of going in your 40s or 50s to see the world, to have the experiences. I mean, yeah.
I mean, unless like some people specifically really want to leave generational wealth.
Yeah,
Which is
and
fine.
that's fine. That's
Which is
just
fine.
fine.
If that's your
Salute.
bag,
Like,
but don't like have regrets of not doing what you want to do.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
Correct.
If that is the goal, cool. If like being on your deathbed and going, I wish I would have done this, I wish I would have done that. Seeing my dad go through that had a big effect on me to go like, why wait? I don't know that I can't count on having 15, 20 years.
I can't count
so
tomorrow,
I can't,
really.
I can't, say I'm going to go see Ireland when I retire. Like, well, maybe. Why wait on that if it's something that I want to do? Obviously, financial responsibility is a thing, but and you're right. People in our line of work are are kind of the opposite.
Yeah.
They're for whatever reason, it's a lot of hoarding that up and
I mean, this is a common mentality, though.
Yeah, it's very pragmatic.
yeah.
You know, but I'm just like, I'm about instant gratification. Like
I try to balance
it's my
both.
gift and curse. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, and I try to too, and I think I've done a decent enough job of it. But I think a lot of my life, just in my early, especially like my early years up until I was probably 20, a lot of my life was like, man, I can't do shit. You know, like either out of fear or out of like, I just felt like I had no control and I had no opportunity.
Yeah.
You know, and then the moment that I got it, I was like, fuck it.
Yeah.
Why can't I have a large pizza for lunch and dinner? Because I'm hungry for both. I'm hungry at both times.
Yeah.
So, you know what I mean? But then eventually, you know, I ended up weighing 300 pounds and I was like, all right,
All right.
just dinner.
Just
dinner, you know, or
rein in the control.
you know, and then
Balance. Find that point of balance.
Yeah, and I learned the hard way, but I have to learn the hard way with everything, so to speak. And but one thing I did learn is that, like, man, I don't want regrets. Mm-hmm. You know, I feel like so much I did thinking I was doing the right thing, the responsible thing, the whatever, and now I regret the fuck out of it.
Yeah.
You know, because like I'm like, man, like, so what? So fucking what? Like, I want to wear $600 shoes. Fuck you.
Yeah.
That's what I want. Mm-hmm. You know? And like for years I didn't, because I was doing a responsible thing. And I don't even like looking at pictures of some of that shit. I'm like, man, crop my feet out.
Yeah, I check my like Social Security standings. Like once, I recently I just got an email for it. Like twice a year to like.
I just got to cut you off real quick. I just got to put an amendment in there that like I don't have regrets in that way, because of those choices I was able to put my kids in a position that I do know that they needed to be in.
Yeah.
But now that I've got that done,
you don't need to keep doing it.
Correct.
Yeah, it becomes a habit sometimes. So you
Correct.
do a thing, it's like you keep doing it.
Correct. Back to Social Security.
No, but like I think I'm okay now. Like I think it's because of the line of work I'm in. I see a lot of old people. I see people come in and turn down medicine because they can't afford it.
Yeah, it's a
like
bummer.
I see it, you know, and I'm just like, I don't want to be in that position.
Right.
Yeah.
So like I have a good chunk of change in my savings, and I take, because I have no retirement plans either. I don't have a fucking pension or retirement type job.
Right.
Most people don't nowadays.
Right.
So like I just look at my Social Security and I look at my bank account and I look at life expectancy and how much it costs to live a year. And I'm planning to be good by 45. Like my house should be paid off, and financially I should be fucking set at 45, which is I think a reasonable age.
That's not reasonable. That's
It is
amazing.
exceptional.
Yeah.
But I mean, we're talking about people like looking into like doing shit in the 60s when they're, I'm gonna fucking finally relax in my 60s. I'm looking to like at 45, I shouldn't have to worry about this shit no more.
Yeah.
And I think I look at money also differently than a lot of people. I think most people look like similar to you, and it's an effort, right? What you have to do to get the money. For me, it's not the effort, because like I don't, big or small, the effort, like the money is the money. I look at money literally as time. Like when I look at how much money I have or how much money something costs, it's like how much time did it cost me? Because to me, time is priceless, right? But yet we're trading this priceless
Commodity.
idea to get money.
Right.
So when I see money, I see it as extremely valuable because that's my time I'm looking at,
Right.
time I've put in. So that's how I look at worth. You know?
Right. Yeah. Which is cool. I mean, it's not cool, interesting, just perspective wise.
Yeah, it's just like if I look at, I'm not strapped for cash, but sometimes if I see a big ticket item, it's like, I had to work 2 weeks for that.
Yeah.
Is that item or thing I want to do worth 2 weeks of my life?
Yeah.
That's how I look at it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's my nerd week.
Okay. Let me see what else. I don't have much either, because a big one for me, so to speak, was the turtle shit. I have a little bit. So I did give Turtles a 6 out of 10. Righteous Gemstones. I saw the
love that shit?
Yeah, I saw the finale of it.
It's a season of series.
So I don't know.
Oh.
I can't tell, because it's good enough
To be a
series finale.
So it gives you the option to just stop here if you wanted
That's
to.
true. I won't, though, because it's been
If it
so
comes
good.
out.
But I strongly recommend that show, and I think that finale is good enough and powerful enough and kind of meaningful enough to be a series.
Well, let me ask you this: Do you think they can continue? Because sometimes you build up to something like that, and it's like there's no coming back. You can't get better than that? Do you think they can keep going and have it not like?
I don't know.
That's always the question. Like knowing when to quit while you're ahead
is important.
Is a fucking thing.
And I feel like 3 seasons, back to the 3 number, is usually a good spot. I feel like a lot of places start to go left after a 3rd season,
or 2.
but very rarely. Like does it? It's like those are the ones that end up being like the timeless, like the exceptional ones that constantly gets, like The Wire, that kind of always gets spoken about in a certain way. It's like because it was able to go past 3 seasons.
British Office.
See, it only did 2.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, exactly.
I know this
exactly.
like
That's why it's great. Breaking Bad was like one of those like went past 3 seasons and was able to stay phenomenal.
Game of Thrones,
but like even like Sopranos has like a taint of like should have stopped earlier.
I don't know, man. They kind of just
earlier.
cut off. They just kind of stopped.
Yeah, but like it should have stopped. It went too far, and it you lose something. It's still good, but it's like it could have been great, and it always goes down. Like when people were talking about something, like, I love it, great characters, great writing, blah blah blah. But man, season 4 and season 5, but we came back. Season 6 was our or whatever. Like it's not spoken
about. That's like Clone Wars.
Yeah.
I think that, and you see it in some British shows, of an all-inclusive series that's like 8 episodes, and it is just there. It is tied up in a box and a bow, and like you have it all.
It's anime.
Yeah, I think that there's some real value in that as opposed to stretching stories out to their. I mean, like one that
I'm not sure if I consider anime that.
That a lot of animes are done that way,
but a lot isn't.
More than not. More than not, though. It's
a lot of times when I go into the store and I see like the anime DVD section.
I'm on episode 1010 on One Piece. But that Flame War is only 24.
Naruto.
Oh yeah.
Some of that shit is.
But some of them, it's just there's an art to doing that as opposed to taking it to 3 or 4 seasons or Walking Dead. Like that's like downhill.
Yeah. Another good example.
The lost my train of thought on this. It's gone.
Sorry.
That's all right.
No, I mean, things a lot of times not only just get bad, it becomes like a caricature of itself. Like
yes,
you just
starts
you're just pretending
itself.
to you're just pretending who you used to be.
100%.
To hang on to past greatness. Like let's just regurgitate what we did.
Oh, 100%. Aerosmith is having a tour right now, I think.
So is Metallica.
Yeah. Speaking of that,
Robert saw the Metallica show, I guess in New York. Took his kid, like his oldest is like super into Metallica since
she's allowed to be
Stranger Things.
Oh, okay.
So like Stranger Things.
I'm surprised she's allowed to be.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know.
We're gonna have to go there.
I'm always usually. I'll say this about the good Detail family. I'm more surprised when the rules are stringent than when they're looser in general.
I thought. Oh, yeah.
I mean, they eat dinner at 9:00 at night.
Why you go to bed at 9:00 at night?
100%. My kids are in bed by 8.
I eat dinner.
Well, not Jana.
I eat dinner at 10:30 at night.
But Jana's. Sometimes I got to be up late these days, Joe, because Jana doesn't get off work late, and we don't let her walk home by herself.
Smart.
During at nighttime.
I mean, I'm still. I don't mention it because I don't mention things I'm always doing on my nerd week, but I'm still on a lot of true crime. YouTube shit.
Good.
Bad things happen. Wild things happen. People's heads been buckets.
That's true.
Yeah. Oh, recently, yeah. I was.
You know what's significant about the number 6.9?
It's like a point away from 69.
It's a good thing ruined by a period, Joe.
Waka waka waka.
I don't mind it.
Gross.
Dude, I had my red wings when I was 16.
Yeah, I've been there, done that.
See?
A couple times. Yeah.
You're the weird one on the team, Bobby.
Yeah, it's okay. I'm okay
You're
being
the prude.
Hey, I'm happy to be different, Joe. I don't need to be like everybody else. Let's see here. So, and then that's it for Nerd Weeks. I don't think I have. Oh, I'm watching in Just Like Us or Just Like That or whatever it is.
Yeah, the fucking
the Sex and the City sequel. It's still good enough. I'll tell you, like one thing that's interesting about that show or about those characters, I guess specifically. I think what I was doing some soul searching watching that show last night. I watched an episode last night, and I was like, "What is it that I like about this?" And I think it's that if you took all 4 of them and combined them into one person, it's kind of the perfect girl.
I mean,
It's like there's like the creative one, the slut, the put together one that's super squared away, and then the kind of motivated business one. And like if you put all that together, it's like, oh yeah, perfect. You know, I think there's an element of that, and then to see those elements be at war with each other throughout is kind of interesting. All right,
is that a thing that needs to stop, or I guess not? You're still watching it.
yeah, I don't know.
I don't know how many seasons that is.
So I'll say like,
to be in now.
so I know it's a hot button, but she, Sarah Jessica Parker, Carrie, is that her name? She's back with Aiden, and did you watch Sex and the City? I can never.
Fuck no.
Yeah, no.
And anyway, like, so Aiden was a dude. I think his name was Aiden. If not, it could have been. That she was linked up with. That was like a good dude.
Okay.
And like she probably should have stayed with him.
Okay.
But she cheated on him with this guy that she ended up marrying.
No.
And ruined it. And then the guy that she ended up marrying ended up dying at a relatively young age.
Bicycle heart attack, dude.
Yes.
Yeah,
the
you
Peloton.
talked about it.
There you go.
Bicycle heart attack.
So now she's somehow Palpatine returned, but also somehow she's back with Aiden. And I kind of feel like, bitch, you don't deserve him.
Yeah.
You don't deserve him.
He should have known his worth and not take her back.
Yeah, know your worth, King. Anyway, not a whole ton of notes to talk about. In fact, I'm not sure there's any that I necessarily want to talk about. I'm just going to scroll through here real quick.
Magic the Gathering's going to do a Final Fantasy collab.
Oh.
I'm going to spend a lot of money on there.
Well, that's
news. They're also doing a collab with Assassin's Creed, I believe.
Oh, yeah?
Oh,
Yep.
okay.
They're they're trying to get their money, man. Hasbro trying to get the money anywhere they can.
Yeah. Yeah, that's probably...
Unfortunately, they got me with the one franchise I can't fucking let go of.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you know, hopefully, Joe, they don't get you for too much.
About going to be about probably $400 to $500, I'm assuming.
Hold on one second.
That ain't.
So that was my mother-in-law calling, which is why I got off the phone, because I was like, why the hell is she calling me?
Grammy?
Yeah. So I'm like, well, my first thought is like something happened with Laura. And then, you know what I mean? Because like my first thought was actually, is everything okay with the kids? And then my second thought was, they're all in your house.
Yeah, they're upstairs.
Yeah, it was this.
And then my third thought was, is Laura okay? And then once that was okay, then I was like, all right, then weather. Okay. Well, you know what? And fair enough. Thanks for the heads up. I appreciate it. But so the only thing, there's nothing really to talk about news-wise. But I can talk about one thing. Lizzo's in some hot water.
Oh, I heard all about. Wow.
That's a lady that was in Star Wars, right?
It was.
Yes.
It was.
Jet Black's wife?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes. So she has supposedly been...
What is she? Is she an actor?
She's a singer.
And a
She's
flautist.
And a what?
Flautist.
don't know.
She plays the flute.
Is that what that's called?
Yeah,
It's not a flutist?
Do you know that Andre 3000 plays the flute?
No.
So like there's like video, you can find it, like YouTube it, of him like just being seen having like sightings in New York City, just walking around playing the flute.
Like the Pied Piper?
Yeah.
Yeah, Lizzo got invited to the Kennedy Center, and she like got access to play like this extremely expensive. I want to say it was like a crystal flute or something. It was wild. And she's very, very proficient. It's impressive.
Well, good.
But even more so than her vocal skills. But it sounds like where she's maybe having problems is her personality.
So I want to say this because she's kind of become like the flogging celebrity, like the celebrity that like everybody's like take a stab at. Mm-hmm. I don't hate her. I don't really have.
Do I know her?
I don't either.
Yeah. Does she play on the radio? Would I know her music?
So I don't really know her music. I think her music's a little bit more poppy from my taste.
But that would be on the radio then, right?
Yes.
Probably.
Yes.
But I don't listen. I don't play the radio. And I don't listen to it. You know what I mean?
I have that work.
She's definitely her core success is her music.
Okay.
Yeah.
But like there are things that she's done that I've seen that I haven't been crazy about, like sitting down at a seat in a NBA tournament, like in a thong, just from a hygiene standpoint. I'm just like, you know,
oh yeah,
I don't want. First of all, if I have my children with me, I don't necessarily, have a little bit of courtesy for others, and don't wear your put some pants on, or throw a skirt on.
Oh, it's nothing other than.
Well, she had a skirt, but it like when she sits down,
rides up.
Yeah.
Okay.
So stuff like that, I'm like, that seems less than appropriate, but I don't hate her. I don't have anything against her. I don't know her. I don't know her music. I just know that like she gets on people's nerves. I think partially because it's become like the body positive icon like the staple child of it.
Oh, is she? Okay.
So like,
I thought it was that big white lady.
so I don't know. Maybe there's two.
Yeah.
But is there room for two? Is the question. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. But anyway, she so like there's been stuff like there's memes like, you know, women's faces when you talk about women's faces when they talk about Lizzo being an inspiration to the world about body shaming, and it's like a woman like smiling ear to ear, and it's like women when you say they look like Lizzo and they're like all fucking serious. You know, there's like all those
That's
sorts of
just
things.
funny, though.
Yeah, it is. But supposedly some stuff has come out that she has been very mean, and you know, allegedly,
Yeah.
Very mean to
her co-workers, her dancers, her backup dancers, and such, to include calling them too fat. So now it's put her. If it's true, if it comes out that it's
If
true,
it's true,
it puts her in a real pickle.
Yeah.
There's
She's
kind of no bouncing back from that.
Yeah, and
Well,
not
it's
the
a-
deep fried variety.
It is she is a, like, if this is all true, she's canceled. Like,
Probably.
yeah.
Which I'm not a fan of either.
No, I'm not either. You know, because I definitely feel like there's an easy way to, you know, you pull that card and you can destroy people's careers even when they're exonerated. And it's
Yes.
like,
Guilty in court of public opinion, you might say.
and it has, you know, long, you know, that some of the things I read was she would make like people run blocks to have like a piece of cheesecake. There was a banana incident that was very,
Isn't there always?
very sexual in nature. So
Isn't it always?
So it's not only body shaming, but there's an air of sexual harassment to it. Again, if it's all true, it is. You know, she has gone through an arc of like rising up and beating the odds, and then probably becoming the thing
Becoming
that
the
problem. She fought against in the past.
Live long enough to become the villain.
Yeah. So it says the dancers claim while on tour, Lizzo invited them to a nude performance club in Amsterdam and went out of fear. They went out of fear of losing their jobs.
It can be a thing.
While there, the lawsuit claims that Lizzo began leading a chant to get Davis to touch one of the performers' breasts. Miss Davis said 3 times, loud enough for all to hear, "I'm good," expressing her desire not to touch the performer. Davis eventually acquiesced. That's a weird way to spell that word, but I'm okay with it. Fearing it may harm her future on the team. Later that night, they alleged that Lizzo badgered a member of her security team to get on stage, where she pulled down his pants and hit him with whips. You know, so on and so forth. Lizzo and Miss Scott pressed Miss Davis for an explanation why she seemed less bubbly and vivacious than she did prior in her tour starting. The lawsuit says in professional dance, a dancer's weight gain is often seen as the dancer getting lazy or worse off as a performer. Lizzo and Miss Scott's questions about Miss Davis's commitment to the tour were thinly veiled concerns about Miss Davis's weight gain, which Lizzo had previously called attention to after noticing it at South by Southwest Music Festival.
That just smacks of not to be direct about it, but being direct about it. It seems hypocritical.
I would say at least.
Yes.
I would say at least. Yeah, that it seems hypocritical. And the problem is I think, you know, where the canceling, you know, potential canceling is going to come is that she's been like, not only it's like the thing that she's known for is being like, it's okay to be fat. Mm-hmm. You know, it's like that is your whole identity, and the whole Joe.
Yeah.
And then now, if you lose that, you lose your identity,
Yep.
and if you don't have an identity, then who the fuck are you?
Yeah.
You know. So I don't know. I don't know how it's going to shape out.
Hope it's not true, but you know, also I don't hope that it's you know, people just trying to tear down someone sour grapes. Like,
Yeah.
could be at this point.
Yeah.
Could go either way.
Yeah.
Just yeah.
I saw recently that Elon Musk, I mean, and I saw it in a headline that I kind of just scrolled through, is saying that Twitter might offer a payment service to anyone that loses their job due to something they tweet about. that they might offer a legal assistance.
Wow. Boy, I mean,
That's stuff.
It doesn't sound like a good business model.
It sounds
No.
dumb.
no.
People would say some real dumb shit. and fight for it.
Well, I'm sure there's some. I'm sure they have some leeway back. You know, it's their choice, obviously, what they want to do.
Yeah.
But like, you know, I like, you know, like we've talked on here a number of times about just like the importance of freedom of speech, man.
Yes,
Just like, you know,
the most important.
yeah. But yeah, I mean, at the same time, like, it doesn't mean that you can't have consequences for what
Yes.
you say. You know, if I say, you know, if I drop the SMD on somebody, I have to be prepared for that somebody to be willing to knock me the fuck out right there in the middle of the street. You know,
Yeah.
you know, but I should be able to say it.
Yes, saying it shouldn't be the problem in itself.
Yeah, exactly. And then, I mean, outside of that, we're just moving on to questions. At least I thought we were.
Did we clear them?
No, there they are. They're just they fell down. There's only two.
No.
But we are recording somewhat. It's Monday. We just recorded Thursday.
Yeah. It hasn't been long.
So
It's just here.
This is from Trey Fi. Fellas, as always, entertainment never gets old. Bobby, you're a fan of And Just Like That. My question for you is, in which order would you rank all the ladies of the show? So let me do that first. So my favorite one is 100% in terms of like, and it depends on what you mean by rank.
Yeah, like best human being, person you want to fuck, person you want to drink a beer with.
Correct.
Like, it's so many different.
That's true. So I'm going to go with best human being, which would also theoretically be the one that I would wife up. Mm-hmm. Okay. So I would go prior to this season, it'd be different. And I'll say that too. But I would go Charlotte. Charlotte's the sure deal. She's pretty. She's put together. She's responsible. She's going to take care of shit. She's fucking not bloody easy on the eyes, as they say. You know, and she's sweet. And that's
Sounds like a great lady.
very important for me. And then I would probably go Carrie, Sarah Jessica Parker next. Mainly because she's creative. She's ambitious. She's fun. This and that. I would have gone Miranda before her last season, but Miranda's getting out there getting all crazy this season. You know, throwing away a whole family and all sorts of shit. But then after that would be Miranda, mainly because like she's aggressive and I like that in a woman, and she's smart. And then last would be Samantha because she's for the streets. Let's just be honest. She's for the streets. And for the other nerds, what are you guys' favorite sexy series that you've watched on cable? Mine's are the original Sex and the City, Californication, Hung, Taxi Cab Confessions.
Taxi Cab Confession. I remember that one.
Yeah, that was great. Real Sex,
yeah.
True Blood, House of Lies, Red Shoe Diaries. And then he said, apparently I can go on and on.
Yeah.
So let me tell you, all right, I'm going to take you back, all right? Let me tell you what I used to get my rocks off to. But you had to be quick because you only had about 8 minutes.
No.
Because after the 8 minutes came the opening theme song / intro. And then after the opening theme song / intro, you got into the show, and the show never was really that sexy. It was only the first 8 minutes that you could count you could depend on being sexy enough for my 13-year-old stuff to get my fucking nut off. Silk Stockings.
That sounds familiar. I never had cable, so I haven't watched many things. The only times I watched like Real Sex and stuff would be if I had a sleepover at my friend's house and we would stay up to watch Skinamax.
So Real
whatever
Sex,
softcore is on.
Real Sex was the shit.
Yeah.
Because they got into some wild like kink shit that
I
like
remember that back in the day.
But it was always like literal softcore porn.
yeah,
On
but it was
movies.
also educational in a way. Like it wasn't like what do they say, like exploitation?
Oh, yeah,
you know what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah.
Like it was like, look, this is what these people are into. This is what it's about. This is
like-
Like a real like
Documentary porn.
yeah.
But
And
like
then they
no
would,
kink shaming. It was like it was just
and,
like
and then they would interview people on the street, like, you know, quote
do
unquote
you think
normal
of-
people.
yes.
Like, what do you think? And then you get their perspectives.
Yep.
And then like some of them would be like, that doesn't sound. I'd be up for that. Like, and then you realize that a lot of shit that people think is on the fringe, a lot of people are kind of open
and
about.
that's
you know,
something I've been
and it helped
saying
normalize that shit.
in the recent years that like all this shit's been. It's not new, bro.
Yeah. I'm trying to think about something else that I used to, but Silk Stockings I definitely used to get one off too. And then Real Sex was my shit.
Man, I was poor and had no cable. I fucking watched and recorded fucking 800 number commercials to get off to. I mean, that was as much as I could get on network TV, right? Like after Tales from the Crypt, after Outer Limits, the fucking called 800 some bullshit.
Yeah.
Talk to sexy ladies now. I'm like, oh, let me record this shit real quick.
I did. There was a number of times I wanted to say the channel. I think it was channel 40. It would be like a pay-per-view channel that you would have to pay for or whatever to watch like the Skinamax or whatever. But they would show like the first 3 minutes or whatever of when it started. Yeah. So if you were up and ready to go, you know, you might luck out with what they have. And then the shit would scramble, like the image would scramble. But sometimes it would scramble in a way where you could kind of make it out enough to kind of get the job done.
You're 80% of the way.
We had the fucking Matrix eyes back in the day. We're talking about HD now? Bro, remember in the Matrix, they were just looking at the code and it was like, yeah, that's a blonde, that's a brunette. That was us in the fucking 90s, bro.
Dude, I try to tell people about, like, you know what was one of the things I think that saved countless lives in terms of automobile accidents? Internet porn. Because if you are of age enough to have gone to a pornography store and bought pornography from the pornography store, you looked at that shit in the bag outside 1,000 times on your drive home.
Yeah. And the giant phone box.
Taking your eyes off the road and looking down into this bag. Oh, I can't wait. 8 hours. Woo!
How did it even fit down this VHS?
You know? It's just that's
good
real.
times.
That's real.
Yeah, Hung was like a good show that kind of like had the sex built into it.
Yeah.
I remember Red Shoe Diaries. The thing that like did it more for me wasn't actually full on shows that were all about sex. Like I watched Weeds, but I didn't watch Weeds. Like,
I watched Weeds first few seasons.
But Mary Louise Parker,
yeah,
like that was like
that hot, bro. She does it for me in that show also.
Yeah, so she was it, and then like the other two that again aren't necessarily like X-Files. I had the crush on Scully. Yeah. And then the other one that I would like watch the show just because I was crushing on the woman so bad was, the name of it escapes me right now. It was kind of like the remake of it, Fringe.
Oh, yes.
Anna Tov in Fringe, like that chick, it was. I know it wasn't sexual, but I made it.
Yeah, I mean that was it though when we were younger, right?
Yeah.
So there was also you didn't have cable.
Yeah,
but so I ever tell you how I got cable?
No,
it's kind of an interesting story. So I didn't have cable growing up.
Yeah.
When I got into middle school, I really wanted MTV. Mm-hmm. So I told my dad, I was like, what do I have to do?
Yeah.
My dad was like, get an A in math. He thought it was a surefire bet.
Yeah.
I got an A in math.
Oh.
And I brought that motherfucker home, and he signed up for cable. I never got another A in math in my life. But between that quarter and the next quarter, my dad had become accustomed to a certain way of life.
Yeah.
And we never got rid of it. Got him. Ladies and gentlemen, we got him. And then on top of that, my thing on there was, and this is before, because BET had a video series that played late. That was like that was where Tip Drill was from Nelly, and like it was like Adult Swim kind of a music video session. But I never got into that because by that point I was older. I could, I was having sex and everything else. Yeah. But VH1 used to have like an after hours music video lineup, and they always played like the same handful of songs. Fucking Chris Isaac's Wicked Ways or whatever that
like
song
the
was.
Raciest.
Yes, the raciest music videos that by today's standards seem tame.
Yeah, just standard fare.
Yeah, Paul Abdul's Cold Hearted Snake would be on there, and I could tell you that used to
Paul Abdul,
dude. That used to. I mean, Cold Hearted Snake. I could tell you check. I can check that one. Let me see what else I could check on top. Janet Jackson's "If," countless times, countless.
Yeah, Janet Jackson back in the day. Yeah.
Dumb.
Yeah, I think it was just like CD liner. That's it. Maybe we're getting a little far.
Oh, so that's a good question. Oh, have there been any audio things that you've pleasured yourself to?
Just pure audio? I don't think so.
I can say yes.
It's not actually till relatively recently that I start watching adult contents with volume at all.
So I'll tell you,
I've been watching things on mute all my life.
So Sonics are very important for me. Both.
Like, I mean, I've come to really appreciate it,
Yeah,
but it's
good,
the fact
good.
that, like, discretion-wise, like...
Oh, you were scared.
I was living with my parents, and I lived in a military boarding school, and the military, I'm always had someone in the
I'm always
fucking
worried
house.
now about Bluetooth. I'm like, man, make sure my shit's off.
Yes. Like, I mean, turn that shit off. I'm like hooked up to so many things in the fucking everywhere.
Yeah, but
like, I don't want my car to start fucking just playing.
So the Notorious B.I.G.
I know you had a problem with someone at work doing that.
Yeah. Put out an album called Ready to Die. It was his debut album. And on that album, there was a skit on there where he was basically with a girl. Mm-hmm. And she was like, I'm not doing that. And he's like, come on, what are you so uptight for? Just part of sex. You don't have to, you know what I mean? She's like, I'm not doing that. I don't even know how to do that. And then he's like, just give it a kiss and try. And then like you hear her going to work. And that shit, I was like, oh yeah, we're gonna we'll go to phase 2 here. Okay. And then when she finished, she was like, I don't know why I did that. I don't be doing that. And he's like, yeah, whatever, bitch. And like, the beat dropped behind it. But like, that was one that I definitely, in terms of albums, I could tell you, I mean, there's a number of, but Janet Jackson's definitely one. Little Kim's Hardcore definitely got me. I was a little freak show, man. Dude, I mean, I tell you, I've told this story before, but I remember when I first figured out how to do it, I had to put fucking rules on it. I was like, look, no more than once an hour.
Yeah.
Like this has to have some sort of negative effect on you. Like there's no way it can be this free and this good without consequence.
Yeah.
Like it was my first was to a Cosmopolitan magazine. I'll never forget it. But that my dad's girlfriend had left. And I just and then I saw kids making this joke at school with their hand, like doing this motion. And I was like, man, I'm going to try that. And I was like, that shit.
You didn't think about it before.
That shit works. All right. A bit of a long one, but we have enough time. This is from James R. He says, been a while since I wrote to you, and I hope this finds you all well. Had some things I wanted to throw your way in regard to some topics you may have heard about and wanted to see your thoughts on them, since your discussions are always the highlight of the podcast for me. What are your thoughts in regard to what Marvel Comics Disney did to the Punisher recently, due to the fact that the members of the U.S. Armed Forces and police use his OG symbol and commented on his policies when it comes to criminals and villains? Marvel Disney, in response to this, retconned his origins from a man who tragically lost his family to crime to a man who always a murderous psychopath, one always destined to be enforcer of the hand, whose wife was never dead and only shows up to tell him he was going to leave his ass because of his violent tendencies. They made the character unrecognizable from what he was and planned to replace him with what I feel will be more of a family-friendly version, all the while still making money off his iconic skull symbol, which to me reeks of hypocrisy. So we did kind of comment on this recently.
This past episode.
Oh,
so it
okay.
has not come out
yet.
We didn't do a deep dive.
No, I think...
But I mean, I was thinking that at the time, that like this probably has something to do with it.
Yeah. So like, here's the thing, right? Like, Superman, right? Superman's symbol, to me, is probably the most meaningful symbol in comics. If you are a person and I see you on the street and you have a Superman symbol on your chest, I make assumptions about you. Yeah. I make assumptions about the quality of your character. Yeah. Because like for you to wear that flag, to me, indicates that you love that character enough. And if you love that character enough to represent that character on a t-shirt, to me, it means that you are a person that's going to try to do the right thing when given the opportunity. That's what I take from it. I could be wrong. I could be right.
Yeah, I mean, so let
me say this. I don't have a Superman shirt.
Yeah. But like...
And I love Superman.
I don't, how do I put this? Not everyone's built the same way. Like maybe us at a table or mindsets. Or
Agreed.
depths and thoughts, how much our lights are on, the wires are on.
Correct.
Just having been through enough fandoms.
On, off, by the way.
Yes.
Chuck Yeo. Lights are on, wires are off.
Yes.
We had a conversation about this recently.
Yes. Agreed. But I've been through enough fandoms and have been fans of enough characters that mean something to me, and seen other people in the same fandom to realize that not everyone have the depth of scope or self-awareness to understand what the character means. You know, it's either it looks cool, it's popular, or they derive a completely different meaning from it. It's like, oh, this guy is very fucking strong and powerful, and that's what they get from it, and that's what they like about the character. Nothing about the goodness of their heart or how they represent hope.
I agree.
So I do not judge people based on their unless they are.
I think undoubtedly,
just like you are a fan of the Joker, I don't make assumptions about you. Where a long time ago I would have, like anyone who was like a villain.
Yeah, but you know what? I'm not sure if you'd be wrong.
But you're not.
No, I'm not a sociopath. And I'm not a psychopath, and I don't get pleasure from hurting people or anything like that. But I am a person that is perfectly capable of making wrong decisions, poor decisions, and sometimes even hurtful decisions to have a good moment.
But that's beyond that to me. You know what I mean? Like if I
of course. But what I'm saying is, to me. And of course, you can just wear because you just like the symbol. You can, all those things are possible.
Yeah.
That's why I always say assumptions.
Yeah.
But like, I'm only wearing things, and I have a Joker shirt.
Yeah.
I think I'm past that point in my life. But like, I'm not wearing a shirt of anything that I don't identify something inside of myself with.
Same with me, but I think I don't think that's common.
Okay, but in that same respect, I had a Joker shirt. So like. There is something about that I do, right? There's a lot that I don't,
right?
You know, but there is something that I do, and I think that I give people that same grace. You know, it's proven. I'm more than happy, and I know that it's also to some people it's completely like bullshit. It's all surface level, whatever. I got the shirt for free.
Yeah,
you know, it was at some place they were handing them out. That it was a movie premiere, and I just happened to be there.
Yeah,
but I think that's the problem with symbolism. So, like. The person driving down the road in their white car with the Imperial logo on it. Are they a fascist?
Right.
Like, well, that's not what it means now.
Right.
But in 3 years from now, might that be the new definition of some fringe group that grabs onto this symbol?
That's where I was going to go with Superman. If the entire whatever most despicable organized group on the planet could be, the Westboro Baptist Church,
ISIS,
the Ku Klux Klan. I mean,
look at the Nazis. The swastika. The swastika was a Buddhist symbol, and they co-opted that.
Yeah, they turned that one inside out for sure,
and turned it, and then I feel like that's now the Punisher skull and what that means on a surface level, on a person that looks at that comic on the shelf and doesn't go into it. It's easy to ascribe, and I would wager that most law enforcement officers haven't gone in. Some of them might go into the deep meaning of that comic. Some of them grab it as a symbol that they impart.
Some of them don't even know it's the Punisher symbol.
Yes. Yeah. And
they just think it's a cool skull.
Yeah. And that's where it's been watered down.
Yes.
So I this idea of ascribing this previous symbol is bad and now we need to take it away and transform, where does that stop?
Yeah, I agree.
What's the next one that gets that treatment?
I don't think that the Punisher has ever really been intended to be a character that people think is a good guy.
Not supposed to, but people do. That's the thing.
But I think
and once again, is lost, right? On probably the people who don't examine it for more than 2 hours,
correct,
or just see it out there in pop culture.
And that's the tricky thing about moral elitism. Once again, is that it's easy for me to. So to me, it is. If you were to ask me, gun to my head, if you think the Punisher is a good guy, to me, I think you're wrong, right?
Right. It's the wrong question.
Right. But let's take that aside. Like, the question is whether or not the actions that he does are the right actions or justifiable. And that's where
Yes,
the
that's
nuance
what-
of debate
yes,
comes
exactly.
in. But I'm on the other side of it. I've always been on the other side of it. That's me, right? But, like, I don't think that, like, same thing like Superman. I would hate to see, like, if Westboro Baptist Church or, I don't know, Scientologists, what horrible groups of people. But, like, if they were to adopt that symbol, I would hate for DC to throw the Superman symbol away because a few, lunatics adopted it.
Baby with the bathwater kind of thing.
Correct.
Like, no, there's the, just because someone misunderstands that symbol or doesn't understand the nuance. I mean, heck, I'm not an expert of the Punisher, but I do kind of know a kind of a big point of that is it's not all black and white. There is gray to actions, to ideas, and it's messy. And to really ascribe this symbol as one that now, and I get it, like you get guys walking around with tiki torches and Punisher skulls on, it makes it pretty easy to recoil from it and go, them.
Right.
I don't like them and everything that they associate with. So let's throw that out. And again, it could be, it's one of those things. It could be it could be the Imperial logo next, where that's ascribed with hate. And it wasn't.
Daughter is a fan of some anime. I couldn't tell you what it is, but that character in the anime carries a flag with the swastika on it, but it's not the swastika. It's like, because it's the Buddhist symbol.
Yeah, it's backwards
and it's backwards
square and not diamond. Yeah.
So, like, but like, I had to tell her, like, she wants to buy the figure.
Yeah.
And I was like, buy the figure, but do not post pictures of this shit anywhere online or anything, because I guarantee no one is going to ask questions.
Not the Gen Pop anyway.
Yep, they're not going to ask questions. People don't ask questions anymore.
I'm surprised they didn't change it, because like Naruto being
So
a
it
very
comes
old
with two.
series.
It comes with two.
Okay, because Naruto has a guy with the Buddhist symbol on the forehead, and in the American release they changed it to just an X.
So there's no American release of this.
That's why.
Yeah. And I just say you got to be careful.
Yeah, I don't know if you've been in my basement recently, but I have a Xeon flag as a Gundam flag that I have in my basement. I would not put it anywhere where people normies can see, because it looks too much like fucking some Nazi shit.
Yeah, well, it's funny. I got caught up in some Twitter thread that I wish I hadn't yesterday, just in reading as an observer. I certainly didn't participate with the filthy pigs. But it was about, there's this third-party transformer that is an original character that turns into like some sort of like Nazi-esque tank, and when it transforms into a robot, it has like a Nazi-esque uniform, so on and so forth.
Unfortunate.
And the character is definitely, I don't know, I haven't read the bio, but it's definitely an evil character. Or it looks as though it should be a villain. Doesn't look like the hero of this story.
Right.
So like, people are like, oh, who would want this filth in there? Now, I don't want it. I don't give a fuck about it. I have no connection to it, Joe, and that's where I draw the line. But I'm also like, man, like, Red Skull.
Yeah, that's a Nazi.
Yeah.
I have a Red Skull in my collection. Like,
You ascribe to the philosophy.
I have him in my villain shelf, where I hope all of those characters on that shelf continually get beat by the heroes.
Yes.
So it's like, I don't know. The world is complicated, and I hate a very binary look at the world. But
that's a general problem. It's not even with just good and evil per se. It's just like one side versus another.
Agreed.
It's not just sides, man.
And I think that like
it's not two sides to everything.
Agreed.
But it's that it's easy because it's easy to identify the other.
Yeah.
And what this idea of common enemy intimacy, this idea of, oh, hey, you hate, you and I both like, we both hate that
enemy.
person.
My enemy is my friend.
Let's do that together. And that's, we're fractionalizing in this country with those kind of motivating factors. And if it's easy to identify the other, it becomes, I have to think less. I don't have to consider nuance. I don't have to consider.
I agree. But I also have to I have to view this through and that's how I feel about this sort of thing philosophically, right? But I had to consider this within the scope of comic books as well. And the truth is that I remember when everybody got worked up because Richard Spencer, I think was his name, or maybe I'm confusing him with like a dickhead Richard Spencer, which is also possible. Nick Spencer, right? Yeah, Secret Empire. That just says his last name on there. Spencer. Spence. I like what you done with Spencer. You know, Spence. But I like the whole thing was that he became a Hydra agent. Captain America became a Hydra agent. They were like, oh, look what they're doing to our heroes. They're turning Americans into Nazis and blah, blah, blah. They can't fucking let it. First, they tore down this statue, and now Captain America. You know, and it was easy to get wrapped up in that. But I read it, and I was like, this is fucking great. And it doesn't do that at all. It doesn't, you know, and there's like, and to remove it from the political side of things, right? For just a bit, Wolverine got his claws back. Mm-hmm. Superman came back to life.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yep.
Things in comic books have a way of just resetting to the normalcy that you know eventually.
Yeah.
They have a tendency to shake things up for a bit, and then they have a tendency to return to normal. So in the same breath, I'm also like, give it 5 years.
Exactly.
He might be right back where you love
There's
him.
no fucking real continuity in comic books culture anyway.
2. I heard Joe's thoughts on the live-action One Piece on Netflix. By the way, I wish I had your strength, Bobby, to cancel it myself, but I am too weak to resist the pull from it. They have good animes and barbecue shows on it, and I'm a man who loves his anime and loves his barbecue.
They have some good barbecue.
My worries on it is that it will not cater to the fans. Example of this are Death Note and Cowboy Bebop shows that
they failed.
That strayed from the source. In spirit, as Joe put, material. One Piece is a series that has a wide array of characters with colorful backgrounds. However, some of them would trigger certain elements of the Western world. For example, look up Bon Clay, a.k.a. Mr. 2, and Yamato. Joe will likely know what I mean by these.
Bon Clay is a great character.
By these names alone. Another is that they will do to Sanji's character, who is known for going gaga with women, but not like a perv, but to be so accommodating to them he won't even fight the female villain, the Straw Hat.
He's kind of a perv, though, to be fair.
Face, and yet I feel they will alter him regardless. I mean, in the anime he smokes, in the American take he sucks a lollipop.
Well, that version failed. So like they tried to adapt. Well, they ported One Piece the anime dub and did shit like that and immediately failed. And then somebody else took over and just ported it dubbed it directly without changing.
Yeah. Do you have anything? I agree that.
I'm tentatively hope. I mean. I don't have much faith that it's going to be good, but I'm hopeful that it can be good. It's just, for me, it's not even any of that. For me, it's just the scope of what they're trying to tackle.
Yeah.
They haven't even tackled a small pot project. Like, if Death Note, a single solitary, like I said, 24 episode complete story, they can't do that right. How are they going to take on a fucking 1,000 episode ongoing series?
Yeah. 3, are there games you're looking forward to for the remainder of the year?
I'm Core 6, bruh.
I am looking to get Sea of Stars, which takes many cues from one of my favorite RPG, Chrono Trigger, Mario RPG, which I never got to play on the SNES.
Oh, yeah,
Lies of P, just to see what a Soul game based on Pinocchio would be like, and Armored Core Fires of Rubicon, because I love mechs.
Bro, looks fucking phenomenal. I'm going to be hooked into that like I was in probably more so than Diablo. Except like this game is story-based, so it's going to have an endpoint.
Yeah, I would like to play some of the stuff that
There's a Star Wars shit coming out. Did you play that?
I think that's out already.
Okay. You didn't play it, though.
I didn't play it. There was something I saw recently. I was like, oh, man. But I mean, now like everything's evolving to the next generation console, which I don't have. So it's like, and I don't really feel.
Well, by this Christmas, it should be either the Slim is going to be out or the price is going to drop or both. So I'm looking to get it because what I'm really looking forward to is fucking Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, which is I'm dropping everything.
January or February?
Who knows? You know, like dates are arbitrary nowadays. When's Spider-Man coming out?
So that's one. That's what I was thinking of.
Yeah.
That's the one I was thinking
Spider-Man
of. Was the one
2.
I wanted to play.
That was something that was Spider-Verse, the movie. When is that coming out?
Yeah, that
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just things in general. When's the statue coming out? I have a statue on pre-order from 3 years ago.
Me too. Wonder Woman.
That's supposed to be coming out, and then I have pre-order things that came out like the next week.
Yeah.
So
same.
I've got an interesting game that kind of Kerbal Space Program 2. I loved it's like a sandbox for building rockets in space travel.
That sounds awesome.
It is heavily involved in all of the.
Wait, I think I know what you're talking about. You can do all kinds of like shit.
You can learn orbital mechanics from this game.
Like you can put together any fucking parts, and it takes physics and gravity and all that shit involved.
Yeah, now they had that one like 10 years ago. It's a great game.
Yeah.
They released Kerbal Space Program 2 on PC. I don't have a PC.
Yep.
But they said that we're going to go through a couple of patches and make it great, and then we're going to port it to a console.
I mean, now consoles are powerful enough to do that. There's a lot of calculations involved in that fucking game.
And that was one of the things that you used to struggle on, even on a console with the old one was you would
it would crash.
They called it the Kraken.
Yeah.
That you'd have so many parts that it would have to calculate, and it was buggy.
Yeah.
But they said we're going to have that on console, and they never gave a hard time. So like this has been out for PC for like we're going on I think 4 months now, and there's no real like time. And there's and the PC people are like it's super buggy.
If it's bugging on the PC, then good luck on the console.
Exactly. So that's kind of like I really wish it would be great for a console, but I don't know, and I'm resistant to buying a PC to play games on.
PC Master Race is the way.
I know.
Once I went for fully committed to a real gaming rig, I'm not going back.
I got like
you can't
guns and motorcycles and all kinds of other stuff to spend money on that I'm PC.
Yeah, you need and you got to get $2,000 to $3,000 to throw it. And it will be good for several years.
I got some pretty sweet Alienware. And the last question he said was, we did an episode called "The Shot Heard Around the World." I think a few years back now. Hold on one second. Okay, be careful. I gotta text my daughter.
Weather
because of the weather.
Oh yeah.
Do you play chess?
Yeah, I mean, I can play. I haven't.
I feel like this game I heard of a little while back that I would imagine you would be one to play it, which is 5D chess with time travel, alternate multiverse time travel.
That's Donald Trump made that, right?
Yeah, 5D chess with multiverse time travel is the name of the game. It's based on chess. It is chess, but it's wild and it's progression.
Yeah, now
you seem like a kind of guy who would play that.
Can you get it on a console? Like,
I'm not sure. You might be able to get it on your phone.
I mean, because that would be an interesting thing of like having not just think about 10 moves ahead of time, but think
alternate universe and also being able to go back and move depending on your opponent.
Yeah, that's interesting.
It looks wild to me.
Yeah. But he said, was the shot heard around the world? If you remember that episode, there was a random gunshot that freaked Pinkerton out. Like I think because I let something play on my phone, and it was quiet, and there was just a gunshot in it.
Yes.
And he was like, "What the fuck is wrong with you? What the fuck is wrong with you?" Was that the shot that was? Yes, that's the shot that the title was based on. So thanks for that. And I do want to say real quick about the Punisher. One last thing, and then we'll get out of here. Is that what's unfortunate about all that shit? Is it's never the fucking people that love the character that fuck it up.
Yeah,
on both sides. Mm-hmm. Like it's not the people that are wearing that shit and making it represent perhaps something that they think it is that it isn't. They're fucking it up because they don't know that character,
and that's usually the case, right? That's why you fuck it up.
And then the people that are also willing to like take it away because they think it now means this don't really get it either,
or they don't love it. They don't really care enough about it to not let somebody else take it.
Correct. It's always the fans that suffer. Yeah, you know. With that being said, Chucky, thanks for coming out because we were short a person. We appreciate
always great chatting with you, bro.
Yeah. And I'm going to try to get everybody home because the tornado's coming. So shout out to everybody that's part of Nerd Rage. I'm going to leave it at that, and shout out to the rest anybody at the cool table. I'll leave it at that too, just because the tornado's coming and we don't want a house to land on us. So hope we make it back next week.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, fingers crossed. Let's give it a. Actually, hold on. I have let's try this. Ready?
Yeah.
All right.
Oh, that's appropriate.
Vibey. I'm going to do some art when this stuff comes in.